Probably the first person on YouTube who welcomed me with open arms and showed some faith in us.
To actually bring R9 Ronaldo back into the equation, I knew that he was going to be good. I didn't realize how good he was going to be. Oh yeah, he get into fights in the locker room all the time. Oh yeah, I heard that Thierry Henry didn't like me for a while. I've known this guy for a long time, but obviously don't know his sexual style. Well, he's a jackhammer. It's like... And I called my wife, and I couldn't even get words out. I mean, just
Emotion.
done. Oh man, it was done. I saw
crying?
people I knew walking, crying, and she's like, she thought somebody in my family died. I felt a little bit sad that the relationships that I built, let's say quote unquote with my teammates
that
at KICKTV, that those were no longer going to exist in the same way.
Did you get a goodbye video?
I did not.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing?
No.
You've been there for 3 years.
Introducing to everyone. If you don't know by now, you should know. I am sat next to the legend that is...
Jimmy CONRAD. Konnichiwa.
Oh, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Fresh off the
plane.
Yes. I take care of you.
No.
As,
it's not the way it goes. But
I thought that's what it meant, because one little Asian girl once said that to me.
It means hello, but
on
all
a
right.
trip to Amsterdam.
Really?
Wait, there seems to be a story behind this.
There's always a story on the...
Yeah. Everything you say has the chance to lead into a story where it ends with you coming. Let's just put it that way. There's always a story.
Well, that's kind of how that ended, but it was... I actually had to help her out at the end because I was looking at her poor forearm thinking, you have literally solemnly going down with a ship, bless her. That little forearm next to her thick dick, it really... she was struggling.
And that is what you are. You are an
she was struggling.
That's a new record for how soon we've actually just told a horrible story.
No, I mean, Jimmy, the thing is, though, it's not horrible because I helped her out, really. If anything, I was being a gentleman.
Yeah.
Really was.
To yourself.
Yeah, I'd had a fucking skinful the night before that and just needed to pull the head off it.
Let me help you up the stairs with that present for myself.
Yeah. Jimmy?
I'm excited to be here.
That's how to draw away from a guest instantly.
Excited to be here. Amazing.
That's the level we're really working on.
I understand that. The bar has been set.
It sets a tone, I believe, for the show.
It does.
Yeah, it's good to have you on the show, though.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Honored to be here.
Jimmy, how I met you, some people might not know. Probably the first person on YouTube who welcomed me with open arms and showed some faith in us.
Yeah.
He's seen something in me back then. 5,000 subscribers I had when I met him, and he said, this guy's going to one day tell dirty stories on a podcast. Showed a bit of faith in us.
Yeah, instead of introing me. Yeah.
Do you remember when you found him? Like, did you just roll across him one day? Because you're a Newcastle fan as well, aren't you?
I had heard of him before, and there was a conversation that was had by one of the producers at KICKTV at the time, and he said, hey, you should watch this video. There's something here with him. And then when I got to see him, there wasn't any doubt. And so we tried to reach out to him. We reached out together. We knew there was something bigger than what he was doing, as evidenced now, as you can see. And, I think he's rewarded that faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fellow Newcastle fan. He looked after us, did Jimmy?
Yeah.
Took us under his wing.
Yeah.
And,
And now here we are.
The feminist movement actually do hold him directly responsible for all the damage you've done. So it's a real issue. Yeah, you inflicted.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to get into, hand jobs in Amsterdam right off the start of the show.
It's
not
fine.
right off the bat. I mean,
I really have left a lot out of that. We'll save that for another day, but this is all about Jimmy.
Yes. Jimmy's awkward laughter sort of ended that story very early because you could tell how uncomfortable you can make a guest.
I've been many locker rooms for many years. So.
Oh, you and Donald.
I've heard a lot of stories.
Fucking hell. Donald Trump getting to mention early doors. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I want to really chew the fat. I want to get into what took Jimmy from a professional American football player, or soccer player, as they say over there.
It's American football.
Appreciate that. I didn't know what you meant before until you said soccer.
I'm sure you've had a bit of banter about that. To YouTube sensation and the like. What was your childhood like? Let's start with the beginning. When you were given birth to.
You grew up in California, right?
I did. I grew up in LA. My parents had me when they were 18. And so
that's young, innit?
Was that young for that? Were you a decision?
I was there was some decisions about not having me. Sure. I guess is one way to look at it.
I'm glad it.
Aren't we all? Because
if he never made it, what would have happened to me on YouTube?
I don't even know.
Jesus, man.
know.
Doesn't bear thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pierce would have picked you up for someone.
So thank God they stuck with it.
Landon Donovan would have been going through one day and be like, this guy's got something.
Somebody would have filled the void.
Yeah, exactly.
No question.
Yeah.
So my parents, by the time I was born, weren't together anymore, and it was.
Did they get along as friends after that? Was it pretty?
I think there was a bit of a struggle as they kind of learned how to have a kid at such a young age.
Jesus.
They try to figure out what they wanted from their own lives whilst trying to balance having a son to deal with as well.
You've had children yourself, obviously. You've put them on your channel, and I mean, imagine being 18 and having to do it. It's like, I mean, they make TV shows about it. It's that hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
16. But I can barely get myself out of bed some days. Do you know what I mean? Like that is part of it. So was it like quite bohemian upbringing in that sense?
In some ways. I think it was raised by a village, you know, so my dad, they're friends. They became friendly, and they knew that was in the best interest for me to have some sanity, I guess, from a mental standpoint. If everybody got along, got to, and made sure everything was cool.
Not sure how that was achieved, really.
Yeah,
the sanity bit. Left that out.
Well, I think there were some real tough moments, as they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do, and I'm sure they had to let go of some of hopes and dreams that they had to make sure they could take care of me, and probably took on different jobs that they probably wouldn't have if I wasn't born. So you take all that into consideration, and I think that was something I absorbed growing up, that I wanted them to feel like they made the right decision by keeping me. And I thought the more successful I was, then I would be. They would look back and think, we're glad we kept him. And I think that was something that I didn't dawn on me until I was 23 or 24 when I realized, why am I wired this way, where I have to be the best at everything?
Got to prove something.
Yeah, I always have this big chip on my shoulder to prove, and I think a lot of it has to do with making sure that they were looked upon in a favorable way.
Did that always do you good, or were there times where you sort of found that going against you, like your passion, or was it angry? Were you ever angry about that?
I don't feel like I was ever angry. I never knew my parents as a couple, so there was never any anger there. It was just, that was really how it always was.
You'd never known any different.
Never.
I've been the same. I'd never ever known my parents to be together, and I don't think it ever made us feel weird or different about life. It's just sort of all I knew. But there's one thing I sort of picked up when I was watching some of your videos about you as like a youngster, was like this perfectionist. Like and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist myself. I don't even know if I'm like to the level you were, where I'd sit on a training ground for hours and hours and hours practicing with my left foot and all the rest of it.
No, but with his right hand,
naturally. That's something that has had a lot of
that
practice.
one wasn't perfect. I'll have to go again.
Give it half an hour, I'll be good to go. But there's one thing I'm aware of, if you're a perfectionist, is like you're sort of never fully happy. Like there's always, all right, that was good, but I can do better. Were you a little bit like that growing up? Do you always feel like you could always?
Yeah, I definitely still have that. But I derive a lot of satisfaction from just creating. And I feel like when I played, because I was a defender, there was a limit in what I could and couldn't do, and especially just due to the position on my field. Because if I started to do too many trick stuff, coach would be like, "Hey, you're not playing anymore." So I had to play within the limits of my position. But then as I now transition into YouTube, being able to have a blank canvas every day to talk about what I wanted to talk about in the style that I wanted to talk about has been really rewarding. And I think the feedback that you get from the audience and the people that want to work with you because they're like-minded, and I think YouTube kind of fosters that collaboration.
Absolutely.
I get on TV, or if I do any TV stuff, it's very competitive, and people are kind of working against you from behind the scenes because they don't want to lose their own jobs. And in YouTube, you just create whatever you want to create, and if people want to follow you, they want to follow you. It's very I don't know, refreshing in that way.
Did you pick to be a centre back, or were you sort of told you should be a centre back?
Well, when I was a kid, I played up front, center midfield, and then as I got older, I started to push back. And I think it had maybe more to do with my leadership qualities.
Okay,
I like to think I'm a good communicator, so just putting guys in good spots to cut out plays. I could read the game pretty well. As FIFA has famously, well, at least in my mind, famously put, I'm pretty slow in the game when I was a player, so I guess I made up for that.
The one thing I learned about you, especially during the Wembley Cup, because I'd seen loads of highlights of you, but highlights, they don't tell a full story
it's
about
usually
a
just
player.
Headers, right? Header goals.
No, it's just him. It's just him wheeling away from a Mexico header. That's the only thing that I've ever seen of you playing football.
I love that celebration, dude.
Men in a Wizards jersey. That's the only thing.
But like when I watched you in the Wembley Cup, I was like, shit, he's really good. Like, and everyone That was the main thing that came away from that game was, all right, Theo Baker scored a wonder goal, but apart from that, everyone was like, fucking hell, Jimmy's good, isn't he? Like, because and the thing is, you're a leader, but you read the game really well, and that was one thing I was surprised, because you've seen things come in so many steps before they happen, and although we all know that you're a professional football player, until you get to see it for a full 90 minutes, you don't get an appreciation for it.
Does that come like, is that always something that you've had? Because I think I underestimated how good you were at football when I first met you. You and I met back in Poland in like 2012,
right,
for the Euros. And I think I saw you play there on like the little 5-a-side, 3-a-side pitch for Adidas, and didn't really realize it then, but people came off and they were like, shit, where's that guy from? And no one, like, because no one in Poland really knew like who you were, with no disrespect, but like
none taken.
There were some Polish guys who knew who you were because you played in Poland,
right?
But then everyone else who come from all over Europe was like, who is that guy? And then I played with you at King's Cross, and you even read the game in 5-a-side really well, and like you were cutting balls out or being like, go over there, or like, you know, sort of giving people instructions, and everyone was like, how does he do that? So like, have you always, like, because that's not just 11-a-side, like you don't just read it, you read it always well.
Yeah, I feel like I had a pretty good knack for that when I was a kid, to maybe see plays unfold before they happened, or you can see based on how a player likes to play, what his tendencies are. Does he keep his head up? You know, do you need to close him down? Is he right-footed, left-footed? So I always had a knack for that, to try to gain an advantage. And I think that's just grown. And as I got into the national team, I was a real late bloomer to get into the national team scene. I got my first cap at age 28, which is pretty rare. Most of they're giving all the young bucks a chance at 21,
because on one of your videos you said that you had done really well at university level, but you were one of the few players who wasn't picked. I think the only player out of that generation who wasn't picked to go straight into the MLS.
Right.
And you had to drop down a level, and so you've really had to come back from a lot of setbacks and prove yourself over and over and over again.
Yeah, and actually that's set me up nicely for the YouTube space, where you do have to accept the fact that you have to start from the bottom and then work your way up again. And even when I transitioned from playing to being the first hire at KICKTV and starting from zero, and then when I moved on from KICKTV and having like, all right, what am I going to do? Well, I guess I'll just start from zero again. I felt comfort in it because I'd done it before.
You've done the Jamie Vardy thing that many times.
Yeah. It's just it doesn't scare me. It actually I get excited for the challenge to see if I can do it again. There are days, though, I'll be honest, where you're just like, oh man, I don't know. Like, can I do it again? Yeah. Or
Like,
you
you don't want to be in
upset.
Front of camera, or you don't want to like say things. Or...
No, I'm not afraid to say anything, but it's just at least the transition from KICKTV to going by myself, I had to learn all these other skills that I hadn't had to learn before, which is teaching myself how to edit. But that's allowed me to bring my personality into these things.
Creative freedom as well, because there's nobody now saying, today you have to talk about this, and this. You're your own boss,
my own guy, and
your own creator, and everything that you want to say, you can just bang.
It is. Right. It is funny though, because the way you talk about defending is actually in quite a creative way, which is not often how you hear it spoken about. Like in football, you hear it as, you know, like he's a destroyer, or, you know, he's someone who breaks up the play. The way you talk about it is about reading plays, and sort of it's almost being creative enough to see what that creative guy is going to do in front of you, to read it and
before
take the ball away. Yeah, which is actually quite a creative role.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an art form too. You know, when I had a chance to play with Richard Goff for 6 months, my first year in MLS. And I would try to ride with him to practice every single day and just pepper him with questions. I think he got to the point like, just don't get in my car. I don't want to ask any questions or answer any questions. And he just said the biggest thing for him was putting fires out before they start.
Yeah.
And I think that really lends itself to how I wanted to. It took me a while to absorb that. But once you get it and understand, and as I got into the national team to bring that back in a little bit, I knew that if I wanted to make the national team and play in a World Cup, I had to be vocal, and I had to tell people with a lot more experience than me what to do and how to do it. But once you put them in good spots and they can trust you, and you're going to make their life easier, then you're going to have friends for life, because nobody wants to do any extra running.
Speaking of the World Cup, what were your best moments as a footballer? Obviously, World Cup has to be one of them.
No question. Yeah. The World Cup was the top, and I got picked. I was a surprise pick. Got named to the team, and then I got to play against Italy. One of our guys got a red card, and we needed a defender. Eddie Pope got red card. He got a second yellow right after.
He got red carded. Were you like, fucking get in there?
No, I wasn't actually. I was like, oh man, I wonder who the coach is going to put in. You know, because I just didn't think I was thought of in that way. And they're like,
did you ever speak about that? Were you ever told why you were in the squad? Like, or was it literally just like, you're in the team? Like, come on.
No. They told me I was in when I first got named to the roster.
Yeah.
Well, when I had an idea that I was going to be in there because I had done well enough for the year leading up.
Who were you with in that year?
That was with Bruce Arena was the coach.
No, who's your team?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I had, but even the lead, not even on the club level, but with the international level, I had a pretty good year with the national team. I had one pretty poor game, but the whole team did when we played against Germany at the Westfalenstadion where Dortmund played, which was incredible. It was 0-0 at half, and we lost 4-1. We don't have to get into that part. But I didn't play particularly well. I knew that was probably my last big chance to make the team to win them over. And I think I had already won them over at that point, but I had got myself so worked up psychologically. Like I had to be, back to that perfectionism, I had to be perfect in this game, otherwise I'm not going to get picked. And I think that was too much pressure I put on myself to perform.
It's one of the main downfalls is perfectionism is going to drive you to be really good, but it's also going to put so much pressure on you that you're going to stress out a hell of a lot. Like, did you have any ways that you just try and de-stress or...
I did a lot of yoga before games because I would get so worked up, about I couldn't sleep the night before. That yoga was a nice thing just to relax me. And I would do about 15-20 minutes of just, like sun salutation, the basic yoga stuff. But
finish off with a bit of heroin pot.
Or for you, it'd be something different you'd be finishing off with. Yeah. But I don't know if that's good before a game. You want to make sure you're still kind of a little bit on edge. But it would allow me to, as they say, you can take deep breaths, helps you center a little bit. And it ended up becoming a nice ritual for me to relax before a big game. But that one, when you go to these stadiums, they don't always have a nice place for you to go tuck away. The American stadiums, man, they're massive. You can go find a room and just do your yoga and it's quiet, nobody's in there. But in these European stadiums, there's not a lot of space. So you kind of doing all this stuff in front of the other guys, and it just loses some of its value, I think, in terms of relaxing. Yeah, because you're feeling like everybody's watching. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing? But it just helped me.
What the fuck's this? Who's
this new age
shit?
This is like you and I before the podcast. It's like I'm there stretching. You're like, the fuck is that?
Give me another burger.
So it was hard. And then when you add in that type of pressure that you're putting on yourself for that game in particular, and then you're running up against Miroslav Klose and Michael Ballack and Philip Lahm and all these guys that they're still trying to perform to get in their World Cup team. It was an interesting challenge. But I remember after the game, I had Oliver Kahn had given up a really bad goal. Steve Cherundolo played right back for us in Hanover in Bundesliga. Played this ball up over the top, and Oliver Kahn came out and just completely misjudged it and skipped over his head and went in. And he was on. He was fighting with Jens Lehmann at that point for the starting goalkeeper. And so he knew that mistake was going to cost him, probably. And I think Lehmann started the 06 World Cup. So afterwards, I got pulled in for drug testing, and so did he. Shit. So it's just me and this guy's massive, by the way. Yeah. Oliver Kahn, we're just sitting there. The guy, he's so pissed, and I'm pissed that we lost. And you can't leave that room until you go to the bathroom. But you're so dehydrated after the game. So we sat in there for 90 minutes, not saying one word, like as close as me and you.
Wow. And he's a presence, right? Like he is an angry presence.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was one of the best goalkeepers for that 10-year period.
Oh, he's unbelievable
in the world.
Unbelievable.
He's also very aggressive in that time. Like there are some good clips of him grabbing people around the neck.
Yeah,
and, properly taking guys out.
He was keeper for the '99 Champions League final against Man United, wasn't he?
Yes,
he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
I bet he wasn't happy that night either.
I'm sure he wasn't.
So he just didn't say anything?
Not one thing, not one word. Not that I don't think he spoke English, or if he did, he wasn't in the mood to try.
Germans speak a little, but I mean, that's kind of...
But so,
do you get a lot of chances like that where you're in the room with someone is clearly almost like a hero of yours? You're going to have heroes alongside you in the game. During the game, do you interact with those guys? You're not going to be like, hey, can I get an autograph after?
No. I mean, I switched jerseys with guys after the game that you respect if you can, right? I switched with Andrea Pirlo in the 06 World Cup, which was really neat. And I have a lot of respect for him as a player.
One player who you played against who was sort of outside of Alan Shearer, my favourite player growing up was R9 Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo.
Unbelievable.
And people don't remember, he's got a bit of stick for being Fat Ronaldo now because Cristiano Ronaldo's been that good, but
he was still good as Fat Ronaldo.
Yeah, he was. Very good.
But what a beast! Physically strong, fast, had skills, could shoot. I mean, he destroyed Man United at Old Trafford that time, and that was when he was sort of over the hill, and he absolutely made Rio Ferdinand look like a cart horse. So. What was it like playing against him?
I had the chance to play against Real Madrid in 2005 at the Bernabeu as the Galacticos. They were so good. And Ronaldo and Raul started up top. Zidane's underneath them. You got Beckham on one side. You got Roberto Carlos bombing down the other.
That was an iconic team.
That was unbelievable. So, in fairness to us, we lost the game 5-0, but there was a preseason game, last preseason game for Madrid before the season started, and they always bring in I'm going to say an inferior opponent, but they usually bring in a smaller club, and for that fell through for whatever reason. So they called up MLS because Pepsi was behind it and behind Beckham at the time, and I guess he was rumored to come over and blah, blah, blah. So they said, hey, why don't we get a little MLS All-Star team together? So they called us on a Saturday, and we flew out from Chicago on a Sunday. We landed in Madrid on Monday. We went and trained at the stadium on Monday, and then we played the Galacticos on Tuesday night.
Okay.
Like,
you're not giving us team.
No, it's an all-star team.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guys played together on the national team or whatever, but still, you still want to have at least a week, if not more, to play against Real Madrid. So we didn't get set up in the right way to have success. But for me personally, I learned more in those 90 minutes than in any other game I ever played in, because I got to see some of the world's best players. As you said earlier with the Wembley Cup, you get to see them not just in highlights. You get to see how they move for 90 minutes off the ball, on the ball, how they support each other, how they move, what they do when they don't have the ball and the other team has it. Those guys work so incredibly hard that I think it sometimes is disrespectful when and I do this too because I'm somewhat of a pundit, where you kind of take shots at guys.
Yeah.
But man, those guys, the top guys, like Zidane, unbelievable.
Well. We have to criticize them. They're getting paid. It's like Pogba right now is getting a lot of grief.
As he should.
I mean, he's not delivering the way we all think he can deliver. So it's only fair that we say, "Come on, mate. You're better than this."
I've seen some stats for his first 10 games at Juventus though, and his first 10 games at United, and most of those stats at United actually marginally outstrip his games at Juventus.
No,
and
completely.
then the point that a lot of people are making is he needs some betting in time. I know people say 89 million, whatever. If he does bet in, then every game he plays is going to make him more and more worth the value that they paid for him.
Let's talk about who he's playing with in the middle of midfield, though.
Well,
he went from Vidal and Pirlo when he first started it to
Carrick
and Fellaini. Come on, dude.
Well,
it's just
Herrera and Fellaini right now.
I don't mind Herrera. I like him a lot, but Fellaini is not a Manchester United player for me.
Well, Herrera is a Manchester United player for me. I just don't know if he's a Manchester United starter.
Yeah.
But he is of that type of.
I like Herrera.
He's an arsehole. He's like an old style.
Do you think?
Did you not see him against Liverpool? Complete arsehole, mate. That's what you want from a Man United player.
Yeah.
That's what they were always back in the days, arseholes.
Like a cheeky arsehole.
But that's what I would want playing for me, like that. A complete dickhead who's going to rile the opposition and get a foot in. Fellaini, I think, really disrupts the flow of that midfield, and I don't think that's helping Pogba at all. But in general, if you're not tracking Conte when he plays a 1-2 around you, you deserve all the criticism you get, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
But just talking about players, some of them obviously you knew what to expect. Was there any of them who shocked you, where you come up against a player who maybe you'd seen and you thought, he's all right, but was like, actually, you are fucking unbelievable.
That must happen quite a lot in MLS as well, right?
Well, I think in MLS too, but to actually bring R9 Ronaldo back into the equation, I knew that he was going to be good. I didn't realize how good he was going to be. We gave him 2 half chances in that game, and he scored both, like side netting. It was a joke. And there was a moment where we tried to hold a high line, and him and Raul were offside, but then Beckham just didn't even look up and hit a long ball over to Roberto Carlos that was bombing forward. This is bullshit. These guys are so good. So at that point, now Ronaldo and Raul are back onside because they're behind the ball, and Ronaldo goes and turns. He's already got a foot on me. He's already stronger and faster than me. Gets his hand and sticks it right into my throat to create even another yard of space. And I was pissed. Dude, you're already faster. It's not fair. Let me at least have a chance to get back in. They didn't score, thankfully, but he I learned a lot from how those guys try to gain advantages and how they
the little things
and how they move off the ball, and I couldn't believe how hard those guys work, because you think they don't need to work this hard, but it just goes to show you that if you put the work in and you're talented, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Where do you think you sat in terms of footballers? If you were to
center back,
if you rank yourself in terms of footballers.
I don't know. I got likened to Jamie Carragher a lot in terms of just kind of hard on my sleeve, would make the big play, not shy away from a big tackle, get the guys fired up, be a good leader. Maybe didn't have the best feet, but did everything I could and always laid it out on the field. You never questioned my commitment to the team.
Yeah.
So I guess there's some similarities there. And actually, the guy that gave me that comparison was Bob Bradley, who coaches Swansea now.
And obviously, Bob's maybe the most famous coach that the US have got, apart from Jurgen Klinsmann now. What are your opinions on Bob?
I'm excited about this opportunity. He's been working really hard. I thought he took the path less traveled to get there. I mean, he left the U.S. men's national team and then went to Egypt in a very difficult situation. And then that fell through, and obviously they didn't qualify for the World Cup, and so it was just time to move on.
It's a very kind way of saying it fell through.
Yeah. And he went and took a lower division team in Norway, Stabæk, to say, listen, I'm going to get into Europe. I'm going to figure out a way. Then he went to Le Havre and Ligue 2, and then this opportunity came. And sure, maybe he got an advantage because they were American owners, but I think he's going to do great. I think his professionalism and his intensity and his desire to prove that he should be there, talk about a chip on his shoulder, he's got a nice one as well. So I have some common ground with him on that.
He's a bit of a miserable fucker, is he?
I like it. I like that misery. For me, he's like one of those coaches. Like he's a quintessential American coach. You know,
he definitely lives and breathes and dies with the sport. That's all he does. And I think if we ever butted heads in the past when I was with the national team, and I think that the best way to sum it up is that I had personality and he didn't. And to take that a step further, there are the people that I really like and admire and seem to enjoy are the ones that take what they do very seriously, but don't take themselves that seriously. And Bob doesn't have that switch off point.
Dry. Sounds like. Did he ever do anything where you were like, "What are you doing, mate?"
That's funny you bring that up. There was one time, and I still don't know if this was a joke or not. But we were
Bob Bradley joke.
It's about I still cannot believe this is real. But we were on a 2-game trip to Europe. We played against Slovakia and Denmark, and we had just gotten off the plane in Denmark from Slovakia. We're all tired. We just got on the team bus, and we stop at this restaurant, or we're at the hotel. And we're just going to go eat first. Worry about our bags later. So everybody has to go use the bathroom. Bob is the first on the bus, so he's the first off, and he's in the bathroom on the urinal, and his pants are all the way down to his ankles, like he's a 3-year-old taking a piss for the first time. I swear to you, and we still did not know. I'm hitting guys. Like, is this?
He should fit in Wales pretty well.
I just couldn't believe. He's got to be messing around. There's just no way.
His actual underwear is down.
Yeah, I mean, well, his
trousers,
his shorts are all the way down to his ankles, and then I don't remember if I'm at this point I'm trying to block out some of it, but I've never seen anybody do that except like little kids when they're at daycare trying to learn how to pee.
Genuinely, that reminds me of when I was 5 or in school, and like this kid just went in the bathroom, just pulled his trousers all the way down, and was like, "What the fuck are you doing, buddy?"
To this day, I still don't know if he was just taking the piss.
Because
we were like. We were now in the meeting room going, did you see what Bob, his pants were down? Like, is that real? Did he?
Clearly.
Do you think they dropped and he was just like, just go with it?
I hope so. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Clearly, nobody tells Bob Bradley what to do ever. Yeah. And from 8 years old, he's just been like, what? This is how I do it.
Do you think it was a test? Like, if you told him, he'd have been like, you cut from the
maybe.
team.
I don't know. I don't know.
Drat, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's just trying to give you something to talk about.
So if any of the Swansea players want to confirm that rumor, that'd be great.
Any other traumatic experiences as a footballer? Anything where you were just like, maybe it's embarrassing or bad, where you're just like, rather forget that?
Well, my last national team game,
of course,
was in LA. So that's where I grew up. Over 100+ people there to watch me, friends, family. I was captain of the team. We were playing against Honduras, so friendly.
Pressure.
It was in January. It was a couple games away from Bob really kind of figuring out his last picks for the 2010 World Cup team. And I got 2 yellow cards in 15 minutes, got ejected, and I never got called back in again.
Wasn't that that was fucked up though, because that referee.
I'm putting an arm around the shoulder right now.
That referee he was fucked.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
I'll say it for you.
Thank
he
you.
was fucked.
He was.
Yeah.
Because he swears on his channel. It's fine.
I do swear. I do swear he fucking every once in a while. But I got a yellow card. The first one was we had a corner kick, got played back out, and when the ball's breaking the other way, the player he's already in a good angle. He's got a step ahead of me. So when he touches the ball across my path, I completely slow down, put my hands up like this. Like, I know I'm not trying to get any contact, and the guy falls anyway. So it's clear that I'm doing my best I'm avoiding contact. I still get a yellow. And then 10 minutes later, there's a guy my guy has it on top of the box. He plays it wide. My guy stays, so I don't need to track him into the box. My other center back's guy is now trying to duck back post. Mm-hmm. I kind of hold him off with an arm just to slow him down just a smidge. The ball that gets crossed is into the stands. It's a terrible cross. the guy falls that I kind of grabbed, and I get a yellow card, and they called a penalty off a cross that had gone into the stands.
Have you spoken to him since?
The referee?
Yeah.
No, I would love to get him on my show, though.
Yeah.
I would love to just be like...
We'd
love to get him on this show.
Talk about conspiracy theories, and I think that's what we're dealing with right now.
That was bullshit.
Did you when you got the card? What was that feeling?
When I got that second yellow,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. You can see on camera, I looked right over to Bob like, this is some bullshit.
Bob, don't piss on me, whatever you do.
Well, it didn't matter, right?
Piss all over
Where
me.
was the referee from?
I think he's from Mexico.
Okay. Oh, right. Wow.
Oh, that makes sense.
No.
No.
I don't know. Maybe
sense,
he's not. I don't know for sure.
Hey, some of them are referees, some of them are murderers. I'm sure some of them are good people.
Bad hombres, I think is where you're going with that.
Bad hombres,
Oh my
you're
God,
right, That's not what the podcast is going to be called.
no,
all
okay.
right.
We're not calling it that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
I love Mexican people. Mexican women, men. I love the food. Can we just make that clear?
You love
right now?
Mexican dogs?
Yeah. Whatever.
That's what I heard about
No
you last
mommy's
trip.
way, mate.
Yeah.
What?
Go ahead. But there were also some players there must have been some players you've clashed with. Or like, for instance, when you get into that 23 for the World Cup,
Sure.
are you assessing that 23 and going, right, who are my guys in there? Like, who
I think
do
everybody
know in that
everybody
squad?
does that in terms of where I can get in and maybe get some minutes and all that. Yeah, I mean, I think you know your standing before you go in, who's going to be the 11 and who's on the fringe of maybe breaking in, and then
But who you can make alliances with, or not like alliances. I know, obviously, you're a 23, but there are going to be people I know that guy. I know that
in
guy.
Lawrence's mind, this is like Big Brother, and we're getting voted off every week.
I think it's less that when
one.
you get to the 23. I think there's more of that when you're still trying to work it towards that 23. Because once you get on the World Cup team, you're like, dude, I'm playing in the World Cup. It's amazing. Like everybody seems to be pretty cool, and everybody kind of understands what their role is and what.
But
they're
you
gonna...
butted heads with players, not literally, but you've.
Oh yeah, you get into fights in the locker room all the time.
Really? Over what?
Ever seen anyone like really badly hurt in a fight, like in football related, like maybe it's in the locker room out where you thought, fuck me, he's out?
Yeah, I've seen some punches being thrown, nobody being knocked out. But yeah, things get heightened. There's things at stake. You're putting food on the table for your family, and if you're not performing well, or if somebody that you think should be performing better that will help you do your job better isn't living up to their end of the bargain, you're gonna have a problem. And you have highly competitive people that are fighting to be the best at all times. Maybe not every single person that's out there, but there's definitely some heated moments. And like, what are we playing for? Are we here to win? Are you here to make money? Is it just for the girls, or what is it? What is it for?
And money and girls, preferably, and then anything after that's a bonus.
That's why you're not in a team. Let's put it that way.
Solo.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody does start and is motivated for some reason, and you'd like to think, maybe naively by me, that it's because you love to play the game, and then you quickly realize that a guy's either just started there and then ended up somewhere else, or whatever. But it's I've seen some things, man. And
So did you ever see, like, you talk about girls and that? Was there many like groupies back in the day and that? Was there any like any of the lads who were like just running through them, just absolutely like
there must
like
be,
a fucking
right?
train just running.
I mean, they're
through
just
them.
because when you get money and status, and the fact is, like, you're a sport star.
Even over in America, I'm a soccer player. Like, that still means
soccer
something,
player. I like the American accent.
I'm a
You throw on that. Soccer player. I think the nice thing about the States is you get, especially as a soccer player, is that you have you get a little bit of notoriety, but not a lot. So it's not this overwhelming thing. It's just enough to keep your
nice.
ego healthy. Like, oh, hey, cool, good game the other night. Or hey, it's nice to meet you.
YouTube's a bit like that.
Yeah. Because actually Thierry Henry said that when he went to the States. What was quite nice about it was that actually people didn't know who he was. Like, he looks a little bit different to everyone else, and he was.
So he made sure everyone did by buying his whole team iPads. iPads for everyone.
But he did do that. He did do that when he went to MLS, right? He bought his whole team iPads, but that's like that's a whole other thing. Being a boss of the squad and being a boss out on the streets, two different things, I guess. And Thierry Henry's status was a weird one in the States for me. Like, he was clearly a great player, but at the same time, when he first arrived, he kind of thought he was above everyone else, or at least it appeared that way.
You challenged him on that, didn't you, in an interview?
I did. One of my first things that I did on YouTube was like this I don't know, meet and greet, meet the players for the New York Red Bulls before the season started.
Is that for Kick?
It was for KICKTV at the time, and Henry was there, and I waited, and everybody's, asking the standard questions or whatever it may be.
How you enjoying America?
Yeah.
What's the food like?
And at this point, he'd already been in the league for maybe 1 or 2 years, and I had played against him, one of the greatest. He's very, very good. And it just seemed like as time went on, he just got more and more frustrated with his teammates. And that always made me upset because they paid him $5, $6, $7 million a year, not only to be a good player on the field, but there had to be some message like, hey, you're also a marketing tool. We need you to be promoting the league in a positive way. Now, I understand there are some issues with the league. Get it? Believe me, I get it. I was there from the beginning when I was making zero money.
He's gone from the Barcelona,
right,
the best Barcelona team ever, arguably the best Arsenal team ever, to it's obviously a different league, total different standard, and he should have been under no illusion what he was walking into.
That's exactly
especially for the amount of money he's getting paid. He's getting paid to make everyone else elevated, but by him raising his hands, I was saying, fuck's sake, mate. What he's doing is making the other lads look worse.
It just got bad where there'd be moments where he would take it upon himself to pressure the other team, right? And this would drive me crazy because he would go and all of a sudden he'd lose the ball and then very Barcelona-esque, I'd say, he'd just try to sprint and win it right as fast as he can. And I respect that. But if the rest of your guys aren't doing that, or if that hasn't been a team mandate from the manager or coach, hey, listen, we lose the ball, then so it's just him chasing 4 guys, and then all of a sudden he turns around and throws his hands up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he did that all the time. Dude, you know how it just looks bad because you have all these new fans, casual fans, who are on the fence about whether they're going to like the sport in this country, coming to watch him play. And if he's out there throwing his hands up and being pissy, then he's like, well, if it's not good enough for Thierry Henry, well, I'm not going to watch it either. Yeah. And so that always just rubbed me the wrong way. So when I had this chance in the interview to call him out on it, I basically just asked him if he thinks he's better than his teammates. I'm like, you should. You're one of the top 5 players in the world at the moment, and maybe one of the top 5 strikers of all time. But it doesn't really look. And he just I didn't say that. That's what you said. And he got really. Yeah. He didn't want to answer. He shut it down.
I remember this well because you were you clearly think that you're better than everyone else. So are you better than everyone? It was very direct. Jimmy didn't fuck around at all. He went straight for the throat.
So it's good that you said that, but you also there's an element of naivety about that, thinking that he would just turn around and be like, oh, you know what? Yeah.
I don't think Jimmy gave a fuck, to be honest.
No,
I think he was looking for a. Come on, then let's see how do you like it when someone puts you in an awkward position? Because right now you're putting your teammates, who Jimmy probably knew a lot of the lads.
All of them. Why would you not know?
So I heard that Thierry Henry didn't like me for a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Yeah,
well, that's not
I've only
unusual
just grown to like you recently. So
he might not still like me. Yeah. That's fine. It's just I heard he didn't like that at all.
I mean, great player, but a little bit of a cunt on the pitch at times. So.
Don't question someone's status. Sometimes they don't like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just wanted to make him aware that at least there was one person out there that knew that bullshit was unacceptable,
or was willing to call it.
Yeah,
instead
really
of being
call him out. That was it. That was really the main precipice of it. I just wanted to let him know that we're not all stupid over here. I can see what you're doing, and it's detrimental to not only to the league and the marketing side of it, which is fine. He doesn't have to do that stuff, but you just feel like you'd hope that he would. But it's detrimental to his team.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. People look up to you, whether you want them to or not. They're looking up to you, and the people that are watching, they're watching you as well. And if
you didn't see Beckham do that shit when he came to the MLS.
That guy's a pro, though.
Yeah, he took his frustration out in other ways. I don't think he ever.
There was a lot of secretaries getting bent over desks at that time.
No, well, yeah, I imagine they were, but none of them to do with David Beckham. But the point is that he would get angry. He'd kick out at people. I remember he used to kick out. That was what he. But
that's something that he's done before, whether it was against Argentina in the '98 World Cup.
Exactly.
Simeone, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I loved about David after
Your father.
He is my father.
Yeah.
For those who don't know the reference, Jimmy's got a career mode on FIFA on his YouTube channel where
it's
he sort of he's the rebirth of Simeone.
He's American Simeone.
I love Diego Simeone.
Yeah.
He's great. But what I thought Beckham did really, really well was behind the scenes. Because the way the players were being treated, he'd be like, what? Are you serious? You really treat your players like that?
Yeah.
And then the Galaxy's like, no, we don't treat our players like that. And they fixed up and everything and then all of a sudden other teams heard about that changing. And then that would kind of give you the confidence to be like, hey, Galaxy's starting to treat their players better. And then all of a sudden it kind of raised a lot of things.
Bit like what?
And professionalism behind the scenes. Because a lot of the players were not being treated well because, they would say, oh, well, it's an American league. We're giving you a place to play in your home country. You don't have to go anywhere. You should be grateful for this opportunity.
I do remember seeing that because I remember players. My first ever job was following the Canadian men's national team in the Gold Cup 2009. And I was surprised. Not the treatment, but like the status of some of those guys it felt so low. They would accept almost anything. It was like watching like a guy from League 2 who should be being treated like a Premier League player. There's nothing wrong with being at League 2, but if you're a Premier League player and you're being treated like you're in League 2, it's crazy.
In sports though, it takes one And like I think what we're seeing now in the UFC is Conor McGregor is that one who's actually saying, you get paid what? Like, you know, and he's actually making a joke out of what some of these lads are getting paid. But in turn, what he's really doing is making a joke out of the UFC and what they are paying out, because he's not going to accept that shit. And I think that was what Beckham obviously did for the MLS, was he was the first guy to say what is the standard and what's acceptable. But what I really do need to know is, did you see any good footballers running through chicks or not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it happens. I think to get back to the groupie question, when you're around the national team, it happens a little bit more. There's more attention around the national team. So I had a roommate who will remain nameless. I know you're itching to hear this story because I kind of gave you a little bit off show, off camera, off mic. And you're like, oh, you got to give it to him. So, all right. So I'm not going to name the player, but it was after World Cup qualifier.
Just his name, right?
Blink once. Yeah.
And he had his girlfriend and parents at the game, and
lovely.
That night,
family guy sounds like my kind of guy.
That night, like 3 a.m, I was in bed. I was out. The light pops on, and I hear some giggling. And he comes in, and it's not. I don't have my eyes open, barely, because you know the light opens, and it's not his girlfriend. He comes in, and the light goes off, and I can hear him, and she's basically saying, "Hey, your roommate's in here." He's like, "Oh no, he's a heavy sleeper. He'll be fine." Like every excuse in the book about why they should be doing it.
Jimmy's got the camera out. He's going, "Are you getting this? Yeah. Are you getting this?" I'm getting it.
Jimmy's going.
I mean, I'm trying to
so sleepy.
At this point, hearing his rhetoric and how he's trying to convince her that it's cool to do it, I'm like,
were you your roommate Donald Trump?
No, but I'm just dying of like this. I'm trying to hold it in, because it's just really funny. And
as was he at the time.
Fact that she's like, oh yeah, like just agreeing with these. The crap that he's saying that comes out of his mouth, unbelievable. So anyway, they get after it, and I didn't know it. You know, I've known this guy for a long time, but obviously don't know his sexual style. Well, he's a jackhammer. It's like.
So there was nothing left of the imagination for you then. The balls were slapping.
I was like, oh man, and then maybe 5-6 jackhammers later, it's done.
Nice. Well, he's had some respect for you. I'm gonna be uno momento. Like, it'll not take too long, mate, and I'll be done.
So then it's all done. It's quiet and whatever, and they're both laying there, and then I hear her say, "Oh, that was the best ever." And I'm like, what, 6 jackhammers is the best ever? That's some kind of standard.
Jimmy
I almost
rolls over
died
and goes,
laughing.
Jimmy rolls over and goes, "I tell you want to try this, love? If you think that's good, I'll have you up all night."
Unbelievable.
What was that? That must be so frustrating, though.
It was more fun. It was funny. A surreal moment. It was funny.
Because I imagine there is an element of camaraderie there with the whole squad, and like there's almost like a weird moment there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're keeping your lips quiet.
Practically high-fiving each other.
That's crazy.
No, I definitely wasn't high-fiving him, because in the morning, he was gone.
Back. Yeah, exactly.
No, he was gone. And it was...
Was she gone?
No, she was still there, and like I think she probably wanted to chat with somebody. So she starts chatting me up. I'm like, yeah, I got to go, because this is really awkward. So
Comradinho is out of here.
Is out. So I bounced. I bounced for sure.
Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you later.
That was for YouTube.
Remember this face. He's out the door. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was one story, but the jackhammer part, unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Next level. Yeah.
And then Jimmy made his way onto our screens on YouTube. How did that all get started then? I mean, you're a natural in front of the camera, but how did you get plucked? Because
actually, I mean, even before...
I said plucked there, by the way.
Before that, you've left football, haven't you? Like, you've had to... What point did you choose to retire? Did you choose?
I didn't choose to retire. I retired in August of 2011 after suffering a bad concussion in March of that year, and I had a headache for a few months, and I was 34, definitely wasn't going to make another World Cup team moving forward. I was on the cusp of making, in August at that point, I'd had my second baby, and it's just like, what am I pushing myself for?
You look great for 2 babies, though, didn't you? I mean,
his
figure snapped back quicker than Kim Kardashian.
You know how I roll.
All that butter.
And so I made the decision then, and then 45 minutes after I announced my retirement, I got IMG is a big agency in the US, and so they're like, "Hey, you want representation?" So I knew, like, all right, cool. Somebody's paying attention about what I'm capable of. I had done radio shows and some TV in Kansas City. I wrote columns for ESPN and Sports Illustrated. So I think what I had if any advantage I had over current professionals that are turning into former pros or whatever it is that I found my voice early. And I think that's why I'm best suited for YouTube, because you have to have an opinion every day. You have to come with some kind of thought behind just the news and to make it your own. And I had already been doing that for years. So it was very natural for me to jump into that. However, in the meantime, I had jumped and started doing stuff for Fox, doing in-studio stuff live, no experience, and really feeling out of my element. So when the KickTV or the YouTube opportunity came around, this is when YouTube put like $100 million into 100 channels.
Yeah.
And KickTV was one of them. I think Copa 90 was the alternative here in the UK. I was the first hire, and then they kind of built it from there.
Should have really found me and invested in me. I would have been more than happy to accept any.
Yeah,
well,
no,
still am.
Still is.
Yeah, still am.
It's still open.
Not to like go down, not to sort of take away from the KickTV side, but when you leave football and you go into media, as much as you're replacing that with something, did you still like? Because
there was a gap there, wasn't there?
Is there a gap? Because obviously you say you got that call 45 minutes later or whatever. You're still leaving football though, or football as you know it. So what's that like?
So it was tough because the coaching staff at Chivas USA, who are a team that don't exist anymore, I had known them for so long, and I had looked up to them when I was a young player coming up. They had to say, hey, we're not going to let you play anymore. It's just not worth it. I mean, I had already gotten there myself, but it wasn't official until they said, hey, listen, it's done. Yeah. We basically love you too much to let you put yourself in harm's way and potentially do more damage to your brain.
Is that how it was said to you?
Essentially.
And what was it like?
So, and I'll go back. So I got, once it was real and it was done, I went up to the car, back up to the parking lot, and I called my wife, and I couldn't even get words out. I mean, just
emotion.
Done. Oh man, it was done. I saw crying? People I knew walking, crying, and she's like, she thought somebody in my family died, and I something kind of did die, and that made it official, and so she actually felt better when it was just that's what happened instead of somebody really getting hurt. But it was tough, and I had a depression. I was probably depressed for 9 to 12 months afterwards, despite getting those opportunities or in the media and being a part of KickTV, which was kind of new and exciting in some ways.
Because essentially you got to put like a happy face on that, because it's sort of like, hey, it's Jimmy, it's the guy, and you're sort of like inside, you're like, no, I've left the game.
Some days when you get in front of a camera, and I've experienced this, and I'm sure every YouTuber or anyone in front of a camera has, where you want to be the person that these people know you for and enjoy you for, but in your own personal life, something shit's going on or whatever. And obviously, the reason you get up every single morning pretty much for the last 20 years or whatever has been football at this drive, and now that's never coming back. And that is like something dying.
Also that physical peak. Like, you've been at your physical peak for however many years.
I'm
not trying to depress you again here, by the way.
You're still a specimen.
I mean? You're still a vegetarian. But like, the point is that you've been at your physical peak for so many years, and like your retirement is a very, very real reminder you're not there anymore.
For me, it was less the physical part, because I knew that I could still go work out and do that and still kind of get that fix or play small-sided or five-a-side or whatever it is. The mental side, though, where all my identity, my personal identity, was wrapped up in being a player. Everybody in my family knew me as a player. I was the professional athlete of the family. I got treated differently probably because I had more of an exciting life, let's say, than maybe some of my siblings.
Everyone likes to feel special. Like,
You've traveled.
Yeah.
You've traveled.
I've traveled. I've seen so many different things, and I had this was me. This was my role in life. This was my role within my family, my friends, and that was gone. It was done. And that was a really hard thing for me to like grasp onto. I don't know who I'm going to be next. What am I even going to do next? Is media even what I want to do? Some days it feels very hollow to just get up there and this is how I felt initially. Now I feel like it's a lot more rewarding. But like, what am I actually saying? Who am I about? Like, I needed to like basically refine myself and the direction I wanted to go into. And when I went to Poland for the Euros, I went to Poland and Ukraine. I had been in studio for so long, and then all of a sudden we take a nice big trip, we go outside, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And from that point, and the feedback we got from our trip was very positive. I'm like, all right, this is something I can grasp onto. We can mix a little of that studio stuff with the stuff outside, and then I just felt like there was a clearer path. But up to that point, it was very difficult for me, because at that point, because KickTV was being housed by Major League Soccer, so we would go to all the games, we go to all this stuff, and it was really hard for me to like even smell the grass, because it would just bring you back to warming up yourself, or to be a part of the team, or to just be able to. You were the ones that everybody was watching.
Now you're in the crowd.
Yeah, now I'm kind of a bit player.
And also some of the players are like looking at you. They're like, "Hey, Jimmy, how you doing? Like, it's good to see you, man. Like, shame you're not playing today, or like, you know."
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of that too, and so there's a lot of role stuff you had to figure out and to feel comfortable with, and it was tough. And not that I still wanted to get out of bed every day. I just didn't know what the hell I was getting out of bed to do. Yeah. And I wasn't good at presenting to start. I just wasn't good at it. And I mean, as much as I had a lot of experience,
then you met me.
Then Lawrence just paved the way. He gave me the confidence that I needed to do it. And I'll say this, I think one of the advantages I have with what you said with regard to YouTubers, like getting up and having to put on a face that you might not feel that day. I had to do that every day as an athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
So my coaches and fans, they don't give a shit whether your dog died or, you're having a, bust up with a friend or whatever.
You got to get on with it.
You got to get on with it. Yeah. For those 2 hours or whenever you need to perform, you need to perform. So for me, like that part of it, no problem. I got that down.
I think that helped me a little bit, having like a real life before YouTube and having to do things I didn't want to do, like diving and all that and working offshore. And then...
Did you wear a Speedo when you did diving?
No.
I always want to wonder.
Purely a Speedo, yeah.
I think I might try...
The visual of you in a Speedo.
I might do a photo shoot, the plus size
models. You should have a Geordie calendar.
Pants!
Plus size models are all the rage, and they don't come more plus size than me, do they? So I'll do that sometime for you, lads. But yeah, I think that's helped me a little bit, just get on with it and get a video out even when I feel like crap or whatever. But like, I suppose if I'd grown up in the YouTube age where you sort of go from school straight into doing YouTube videos, which a lot of people we know have done that. I mean, you were really around for the birth of a lot of YouTube careers. Like we've seen KSI's come out and all. You were there almost at the very start, before he even had 1 million subscribers.
You were there literally before football on YouTube really even started. Like essentially, you were there at the very beginning because that when people were getting that investment. I remember when Copper 90. There's people like Ball Street coming out, and all these other channels in London were starting.
All right, easy on the promotion.
You know what I mean, though.
We did a crossbar challenge on KSI's channel. At that time, I think he only had like 300,000 subscribers.
That was before they'd been done 1 million times on YouTube.
Yeah, no, there wasn't even music on it. There wasn't even that build-up music. It was just literally like, kick it. Crossbar.
It was.
That wasn't like.
I think he had his music at that point, but it was 300,000 or 400,000 subscribers, and when you got to meet him there, he's very shy, and then on camera, he just becomes this beast. Like he loves the beast mode stuff and all the stuff that he does. And now he's massive, and it's really cool to see because I love that he puts himself out there. I have respect for any creator that can turn on the camera and be like, listen, I'm going to say something about me today or something that I care about, and
even if you disagree with
even if you disagree.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've seen like him and you, and I think every YouTuber who has any success, when you see them start and then 2 years down the road, you're like, oh, you know who you are now, don't you? And everyone needs to go through that. And like you say, you went through it. I've been through it myself. Lawrence is still sort of...
Yeah,
no,
you'll get there.
You joke about that, but what I find funny is like behind the camera, I've been in YouTube longer than most people have been on YouTube, and like been making those. But people assume that because you don't have your own channel, somehow you don't know what YouTube's about. Because you're not in front of the camera, somehow you don't know shit. And that's what I love about.
Is he still talking? Because I don't think he knows shit.
My favorite is Casey Neistat, and like you've got you. I remember I watched one of his videos, and I was like, I know that little tiny man in the background, and you were running with him, and I was like, shit, he's made it. Like that's it. Like his YouTube career is fixed.
Yeah. You know a lot of YouTubers, don't you?
But Casey especially.
Yeah, I know Casey quite well. We go running every once in a while. Obviously, he's incredibly talented. We had a mutual friend that we met through when the YouTube Music Awards happened in New York, when they kind of did that kind of weird Spike Jones thing. It was cool. It was really cool to be there. But I met Casey there, and then we just stayed in contact. And then as things kind of stopped going on with KICKTV, I'm going to talk to somebody that knows what the hell they need to do in YouTube if I'm going to start doing something on my own. And he's been a great asset for me. And every time we go running, it's all we talk is YouTube.
For those who don't know what Casey does,
where the fuck have you been?
Yeah, what have you been living under?
Yeah.
Explain it. Like, what is the great thing about Casey Neistat?
He's got heart.
Well, I think he's got heart. I think he takes a lot of pride in what he does. As I mentioned earlier with the people that I like to hang out with, he takes what he does very seriously, but doesn't take himself that seriously. And I think he's always pushing. And maybe that goes into the perfectionism stuff where he always thinks he can do better.
Well, for me, he's different because his personality isn't over the top, which most YouTubers who are successful is the case. For example, PewDiePie. Just putting PewDiePie out there. But the one thing that sets him apart is as soon as you're watching his videos, you're like, holy shit, this is different to anything I've ever seen on YouTube before. And a lot of that's down to his knowledge that he's got from... He is a grown man. He's had a life before YouTube. He's worked on films and all sorts. So when he shoots his videos, it's from so many different angles. You're like, your brain is really processing like, what the hell? Where is he? What's he doing?
I think you can almost say that he's failed a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And you're talking about some YouTubers that have just kind of struck gold, and they haven't lived a life of failure, and they will at some point. I mean, that's just cyclical. Everybody's going to run into it, and how they respond to it is going to give them the stripes to start making content that you want, that you care about,
that you actually want to watch. That someone who's maybe someone who's a little bit older wants to watch, because I think that's part of it. Is a lot of younger guys will watch because they are watching for someone with experience, and maybe that's the difference between Casey and you and like some of the other guys who are a little bit younger. Is that your experience gives your content a different kind of heart to the heart that maybe someone who's 20, 21's got.
Right.
And it's not to put someone who's younger down. It's just that, like, you
it's
progress.
Different.
And as you progress,
different.
your tastes change.
I mean, if we use KSI as an example, I'd love to see the type of content he's doing at age 30 than what he's doing now.
Me too.
It's just going to be different. He's going to have to evolve, and I think he will. He's smart enough.
Well,
we both know him off camera.
Joe Weller, who we're hopefully going to have on the show at some point, he's been saying
shameless plug,
saying a lot of that. Is that YouTubers now, we're seeing YouTubers go from the 16-year-old, 17-year-old young lads who were sort of, we're playing a bit of FIFA, to now music videos and, I mean, movies, and it's interesting to see how it develops. But then when they do hit 30, they're going to be such different people than when they started. The content is going to be extremely
You're also going to be
different.
very out on your own at that point. Like by the time you hit 30, you're not a much more lonely person, but you're definitely someone that's more difficult to make money from. So at the moment, these are all young guys who, and they're not only making money, but they're definitely having money made out of them. So they've got chances coming out of their ears because people are coming along and going, people come along going, I can make a lot of money out of you, but you can make a lot of money at the same time. To come along to a 30-year-old and do that, that's very different. A 30-year-old's probably going to go, well, hold on a minute, what am I getting? What are you getting out of this? So there's a different kind of deal to be had there. So I just wonder that fall-off can be very fast for some people. And with you and Casey and other people who are in, more in their 30s now, there's a big difference between you as businessmen and them as businessmen.
I think also to kind of go off of that, when I talk to Casey, or if I talk to True Geordie here, or Spencer, if YouTube disappeared, I feel like we'd all be fine.
Yeah.
And now you can't necessarily say that. That's fair.
Back with the water it goes.
Back with the Speedo back
But
on.
the point is, you might be on HBO, or you might be on something like Casey was on HBO. He sold a YouTube show before it was ever even out there.
Right. No, he was. I mean, he's ahead of his time.
Right.
And
credit to Casey, we get it.
But also with Casey too, and he has a vision, and he just sticks with it. He doesn't. He knows what he wants to do. He knows the content that he loves to create, and
he's
he continues to push.
Dude, isn't he?
Very smart, and super creative. Very positive. He's never tearing anybody down. He's just always trying to build people up.
He's the only YouTuber I've ever watched a video and thought, I feel really bad about my content now, because I feel like when it comes to talking, I can talk with the best of them, but he does things that I just can't do because my life experience doesn't line up with the knowledge he has at all, and it's not even like I can make that difference up. And if I did, what I like to do is sit and talk, and I would have to stop myself that many times. This angle here, that angle there, and I just thought, you do you. I'm not even going to try and copy that.
That's why you got me in.
And I thought, what would be good is if I got someone in who does know how to do all that.
Yeah.
Hello, Lawrence, you fancy doing a podcast?
Or knows people who know how to do that stuff. Yeah.
That's the thing. If you don't know how to do something, get someone who does. Lesson in life.
That was also quite interesting with his content recently, which is such a shit word, but it is, with his content, is he took another really big political step, which was talking about Hillary and Trump. Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, my initial thoughts were, this is a really savvy way to get your name out there.
Interesting.
And to...
That's quite a cynical way of looking at it.
Well, kind of cynical, but I guess it's because I've talked to him, and I know that he likes to, every once in a while make a video that's gonna get people talking.
Stir shit up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's less about getting his, I was gonna say getting his name out there, but just, as you say, stir shit up a bit. Get, now he's called out people on YouTube to kind of step up and do something similar. So he's put his flag in the ground like, hey, I'm gonna take my power that I have on YouTube, or whatever that means, and I'm gonna do something with it.
My voice.
Yeah, my voice. Yeah. And I'm gonna just get people talking about difficult stuff, and politics can be difficult at times. So I admired him for doing it. I thought the video was very bold, as is Casey. And so as much as it might have deviated from his normal daily vlogs that we all love, it still was very much him. And I responded I made a response video. I mean, I put it in one of my other videos. I didn't make it like singularly about.
And who
about
would
that.
you be voting for? Out of interest.
Well, yeah, it's outside
hard
of for the video itself. I just encourage people to vote. It's an incredibly
Sure. But why are you voting for Donald?
I'm not. Well, I would say that Donald Trump obviously has some tendencies that towards some female stuff. I've got 2 young daughters. Now that's not the only reason I wouldn't be voting for him.
No,
but
you have self-respect as a man.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But he, you know, if my daughters knew when they grew up, like, you voted for that guy, like, I just don't think they could ever respect me. And I couldn't respect myself for voting for him either because of all the lies. The New York Times printed up this whole thing of all the lies that he said over the last, 6 months. And it's just like 5 pages of the New York Times. It's crazy. So I know that Hillary is not a saint either. But there are some things that I appreciate about her, and it gets back to the experience thing. She's seen some things. She's been around.
Yeah.
She has brokered deals. There's probably so much stuff behind the scenes that we don't even know about that maybe been super positive about what she's brought to the table. That
my feelings on it.
It's like you cannot vote. I cannot vote for him.
My feelings on it, and I'm pretty sure nobody out there gives a rat's ass what I think about any political race. But here's my thoughts on it. Right, since it is my show. You got a career politician in Hillary who is totally owned by the banks and will just continue the agenda that's currently being pursued anyway. It's just more of the same. Or we've got Donald Trump, who everyone's terrified of, especially the establishment, because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So it's more of the same in sort of semi-safe
I agree with you.
or dangerous Donald.
I think voting Hillary is also it's almost delaying something that feels inevitable, but you want someone at least to be who's relatively in control when the inevitable happens, whereas Donald Trump is he's just not an option.
No, I think Donald will be more in control of his own agenda and Hillary will not have any say whatsoever. But that's the terrifying thing, is that
there's no choice in this.
Yeah.
You're essentially.
I actually find Donald funny, though, to be fair.
I do. I mean,
it's hilarious.
It's a reality show.
What do you find? What's
it's
wrong
a reality
with you?
show.
Well, what do you find funny about him?
He's funny because when Hillary goes
wrong,
for example,
so disrespectful.
I know.
You're she goes, well, thank
nasty
God,
woman.
When thank God you don't hold the justice system in your hands, and he goes, yeah, because you'd be in jail. And how did you not laugh at that?
Yeah,
that was funny. That was such a good comeback
because it came out of his mouth. Like
I know, it was funny. The guy's
hilarious, man.
The guy's an entertainer first and foremost.
But don't vote. I mean, that's why London fucked up. We voted Boris Johnson in. You know, I mean, fucking hell.
No, but
to
be fair to him, he does have some points about what he says about Hillary. Right? Don't calm down, because just let me speak.
I'm just
first.
boiling on the inside because you just sound like a class A cunt.
No, I'm not going to defend Donald here. I agree with everything you've said, but to be fair, let's not act like Hillary's a fucking saint. 33,000 emails. What? Yoga? How many yoga classes you been to, mate? I've not got 33,000 emails in my life. She's been deleting. She was told not to delete them. She got rid of them anyway. So let's just remember, she's just an evil piece of shit herself. She's just more of a safe bet. That's all it is.
Basically, yeah. Great.
It's the best of two evils.
The lesser of two evils.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
The best.
We've done that.
Mixed metaphor.
Jimmy.
Yes.
You were the face of KICKTV without a shadow of a doubt, and I know being the face of a couple of channels, including my own.
I prefer if you said handsome face.
Yeah.
The handsome
face. We can let that go, Pat. We can let that go.
Of KICKTV for a good few years. That channel went from strength to strength. Hit 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
With you as the main man on there.
That channel got to 1 million.
It
did. About 3.5 years.
Quite surprising. That Google money certainly came in handy, but so did Jimmy's banter. Did it sort of make you sad after you worked so hard? You've reached the top of the mountain, as you say. You've started a new journey. You've undoubtedly succeeded in it. It was a successful channel, and you know. Did it make you a bit sad to have to leave after all that hard work?
I think there were moments where I felt a little bit sad that the relationships that I built, you know, let's say quote unquote with my teammates
that
at KICKTV, that those were no longer going to exist in the same way. Mm-hmm. But like, to give another soccer metaphor or soccer player metaphor, we had a new ownership group come in, Copa 90, Big Balls. Mm-hmm.
That's the production company name, by the way. He's not just sort of being like Copa 90, big balls.
With their big balls coming in. No, that's what they're called.
And They bought us, and it took them about 10 or 11 months to kind of get incorporated in the United States and get some staff over and really understand the lay of the land and understand, kind of lift up the hood and see what KICKTV was all about and all the other
forced into buying Kick, really, though, because I think originally the timeline was going to be a little bit longer for buying Kick, as far as I know.
Yeah,
and then
they
had to make a move, essentially.
Well, I think MLS put some pressure on them. MLS owned us at the time and put some pressure on them to like, hey, it's now or never kind of thing. So I think they did have to get forced into it a little bit, which I think then gave them once it just took them longer to get their feet going, but they got there. And then once let's say the new coach came in after 10 or 11 months, the new coach just wanted a few different players to be involved, and I wasn't one of them. And as a guy that's been in that kind of industry, when I look at it from that standpoint, it's really not that big of a deal.
Did it feel like that at the time, though?
It felt. I was a little surprised.
The awkward thing,
but it was after when you talk it out and you sit across from them and you understand where they want to go, and then where I want to go. They weren't meshing.
But you are losing that stability of being paid regularly on YouTube, at least.
Right.
And that's one thing you are losing there.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, it gets back down to, I went from, usually people like to go from 0 to 100. I went from 100 to 0. Mm-hmm. And that's
not the way I want to do it.
You still got to get to 100, though.
Yeah, and eventually I'll get back there. But I was very humbling at first, and then you got to figure it out. How am I going to work this out? Okay, I got to teach myself how to edit. And you really just strip it all the way back down to, in my first couple videos on my channel, not so great. And maybe in the ones I'm putting out now, not so great. But I know that I'm getting somewhere, and I'm going to continue to get better.
How many videos do you edit now? How many of your own videos do you edit? Do you edit
I edit probably 90% of my own videos.
Wow, okay.
The career mode one on FIFA, I've outsourced to this really talented guy named Mike Kowalski.
I was going to say, you can just tell. It's just. I'm not saying you're a bad editor, but you can just tell that an editor's got his hands on that.
Yeah. And it's been nice because I feel like I've now brought a team member in. To let's talk about how we're going to make this content, and it's been fun to work with somebody again. I feel like I've been missing that part of it, kind of the teammate part of it that I always kind of craved. Obviously, I've been playing with the team.
Like when you first left KICKTV, I remember a lot of people sort of being like, "Oh, we should crowd around this guy. Like this guy, we can work with him." Mm-hmm. And there are people like Chris. Is it Chris Mackey?
Mm-hmm. Chris Mackey,
really great guy.
Yeah.
There are people surrounding you who are going to make. Who you can collaborate with and just blow up. Do you know what I mean? Right. And you have like the floating head guy on your channel as well.
Oh, Anthony Richardson.
He's fantastic.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of guys that want to be involved, and I feel like I'm just trying to create a platform where people can be themselves and not have to apologize for it. And KICKTV used to have that, and it just, and even before the new ownership came in, we just didn't have. MLS didn't want to have us anymore. Like we needed to become a full-blown production company because that's where we were growing into. And they were building a sports league. Yeah. So we just weren't a good fit for them. And then I ultimately wasn't a good fit for the new ownership group. Yeah. And now here we are.
That is, though, like, you sort of helped bring in someone else, didn't you, before you left? Heath, who's there now, who was like a mate of yours. And as it happened, he sort of turned out to be your
basically hired my replacement. Yeah. And that happens too. You groom younger players. It's funny. In Kansas City, I groomed. Or like I kind of mentored Matt Beasler, who ended up now being MLS Defender of the Year and being the World Cup.
Great hair.
But, I mean, he's his own guy, and he had to do it himself, of course. But I was around when he was first getting started, and I'm sure he learned a few things from me, just like Heath learned a few things before I left, and that's just part of it. I don't take that. I don't take that as personal as you think.
And do you always order coffee this time? No. Okay, great. And what else can I get out of them? Okay, cool.
I love Heath, and he loves you. I'm really excited that he's in this field with me because I know he's a really talented guy. But I mean, and I guess when you look at it from that standpoint, I hired my replacement, and it kind I a bit shaky.
But at no point did he stab. No point did he sort of go, "Oh, don't worry, guys, I got this. Let him go."
No. I mean, when I brought
unofficially, that's what they were all thinking in the background.
I can't speak to that, but what I can speak to is that Heath and I were really excited about doing stuff together on the channel.
Because the main show that you sort of made popular on KICKTV was The Mixer.
The Mixer, yep.
And you sort of were phased out of that show. You had your last Mixer, and then he was put on that. Am I right in thinking?
That's right.
And then you were told that you were going to be doing something else.
Right.
And then that all of a sudden disappeared, and then Heath was left on The Mixer, and you were left on your new channel.
Yeah, then it just got to a point where we just needed to decide. I mean, it was called the Jimmy Conrad Show. I think that was what it was called. And we were trying to think of just different ideas to once a week come out with a cool kind of show. And I remember
it well. Like you were doing on the road sort of stuff, outside sort of stuff.
Yeah, I did ahead of the MLS Cup final, I interviewed 2 guys in like ice buckets, you know, and tried to do something different.
That's sort of like what's that culture called where you're outside the stadiums as Americans, like you sort of go and do
tailgate,
barbecue? Yeah,
tailgating stuff.
Sort of
Yeah,
thing,
so I would try to bridge that where it wasn't straight like documentary, experiential vlog type stuff, but had a little bit of a news background, and
Bit
so
of
like
personality, you know.
yeah, but adding my own personality to it, and I thought it had some legs, but we just needed to really get ahead of the stories, and then all of a sudden the holidays come, and the way that I think Americans see the holidays, like we pretty much shut down for like a couple of weeks, and so we just kind of kept pushing it until we were in a good spot, and at that point it was clear that I needed to have a conversation with the other guys just so everybody's on the same page, and it
what's
just
going on.
Yeah, and it's fine. We worked it out,
The one
and
thing
we
that-
both moved on. I hope they're doing great. I don't watch that much of the content,
but, I mean,
frankly.
okay,
Nobody
yeah.
does, let's be honest. But
I have no idea. I just don't watch that much.
no, I mean, I used to be on KICKTV. I've got my own sort of story on that one. It was very, you know, no notice given to me whatsoever before. See you later, Geordie. New ownership, mate. It was about 45 minutes notice. That's the big it was. But
Was it really?
thanks for that.
Was it really?
No, it was.
But, I mean, it was
pretty sudden. It was just like, see you later.
No more
mate.
videos?
No, which if you've got like a family or whatever, or any situation, or you try and keep a roof over your head, not what you want.
No stability.
To be honest, but to be fair, the one thing I did expect to see, maybe a little goodbye for me, maybe a little goodbye for Jim. I mean, he's only been the face of the channel for 3 years.
Did you get a goodbye video?
I did not.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
No.
You've been there for 3 years, and they gave you absolutely zero.
Almost 4 years exactly.
But they've given other people goodbye.
Rachel Bernetta, is that it? She got a goodbye. She was on about 10 times on that channel. She got a goodbye. So I was on every week. Didn't even get a fuck you, mate. But never. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter about it, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. No, but in general, I didn't even care that I didn't get a goodbye video because like I could give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorted.
I think you protested a bit too much, but all right.
In all seriousness, for Jimmy to not get a goodbye video is a fucking disgrace, to be honest, mate. It's an absolute. It wouldn't matter now because no one watches the channel anymore. But I'm just
late if they
saying,
upload it
it's
now,
a bit
isn't
late.
it?
Don't bother doing one now.
Imagine that
no one be
next
watching.
week. Goodbye, Jimmy Conrad.
No.
Just going for the views at this point.
They finally caught on to what people want to see, and it's fucking 7
It's
months.
saying goodbye to you.
Goodbye, farewell. No,
And it's just you, but on your own channel. It's not even cuts from their stuff. It's cuts from your own channel. Just you running in slow motion with Casey, like little bits. What's it like running? I really want to ask you that. What's it like running with Casey?
It's great. He's high energy, and we get right into the conversation. We talk the whole time.
You talk?
Yeah.
does he run with his sunglasses on as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he keeps those on quite a lot, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
But yeah, he runs with them on, and sometimes he's run without them as well. But
Fast pace?
It's pretty good pace. Maybe
Yeah.
a little over 7 minutes. It just depends on the distance for me. I'm a good 5 or 6 mile guy, and then I'm just like I'm kind of overrunning.
Tail off.
But we usually run for about an hour and 15 minutes, and
Just like
we talk
10,
about a whole
12,
bunch.
13K maybe, a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, and it's good conversation. It ranges from family to personal stuff, philosophy, YouTube, other people we're watching, who inspires you. It's great. And
You come away with something every time in a way.
Yeah, I
But
always
you don't
come-
go out there thinking that. You don't
No,
like, I'm going to get so much.
I always come back thinking, as you say, when you watch his videos, like, oh man, I could do more.
Yeah,
you know, and he inspires you to really try to get to be the best that you can be, and don't. So there are moments where I was doing something. I'm in FIFA 17, shameless plug, and I'm doing stuff for
It's not
them.
your fucking game, Jimmy. FIFA 17.
No, but I'm
on it.
Jimmy Conrad's FIFA.
I was used to. I wish that.
Imagine if you're on the cover. Fuck.
Oh, I wish I was on the cover. That'd
Yeah.
be pretty sweet. But I'm in the game, and so I'm doing this content for them, and it's really neat. And I was so tired, but I want to get it done. And I think about some of the things that motivate you along the way, and it goes back to your chip on your shoulder. Like, I'm not going to let anybody get the best of me here. I'm going to get this. I'm going to nail it. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to go. That's just one example, but that fires me up for all the videos. Like, hey, they don't think you can do it, and it could be make believe that has it in your head. Michael Jordan is famous for picking one person on the other team who he just thinks is talking shit about him, and then he just eats him up and like slam dunks on
Sort
him.
of like Bobby Boucher. Water boy.
And so I always have this this mentality that there's somebody out there that doesn't think I'm good enough, or there's just no way he can sustain it, or there's no way he's going to get to what he thinks he's going to get. And there might be people that think that will never give me the satisfaction of letting me know that they don't believe in me. But I either manufactured or if it's real, it helps get me up and be like, I'm doing this today. I'm going to nail this. This is what I want to talk about, and I want to make good content.
I think
Good luck with that.
Jimmy is going to be perfect. Positive attitude to help us answer some emails.
PMA.
Let's do it.
If you've watched my career mode, you know I love emails.
Let's get those emails read.
Let's do it.
Emails.
So wrong. Okay, let's get straight down to it, guys. This first one is entitled Tinder.
Okay.
You aware of the dating app Tinder?
I'm aware of it.
It's not really such a it's more of a fuck app, isn't it?
Oh, well, I wouldn't know that part of it.
Fuck.
I like to live vicariously through the people that do use it.
I was going to say, Tinder's a really fun, if you've got single friends, you can sort of like, you can sort of be like, hey, you should.
I might catfish on there and just fake profile.
I was actually thinking we should just set up a fake true Geordie profile and see how many girls you match with.
Does that mean they'd fuck me, basically?
I mean, you'd have the chance if that's what you wished in the end.
I think it increases your odds.
Yeah, it increases your odds of meeting a girl on Tinder if you're on it.
And they don't get to hear what I'm like, though. They just have to see visuals. And then
they see visuals, and then they see a little
you read a blurb?
profile, and then some of your interests, and then it'll be sort of like you'll have a little bit of chat. So you'll maybe be, would you like pizza or pasta? Do you know what I mean?
How's Tinder working out for you, Lawrence?
It's working out for some of my friends really, really well. Or at least it was. I think it's shit now.
I'll wait until I've been in the gym and I'll just take like a picture, like, all right, this is the guns.
Yeah,
enjoying them.
No, that'll really get the girls.
They love that
1700 stone thing that
they
you
love
do.
that.
Yeah.
1700 stone.
I don't even know how much that is.
Bench pressing,
like John Stones.
How are things going, Geordie and
Jimmy?
Guest? I mean, yeah, Jimmy.
Everything's good. Cheers.
Good.
Yeah, great. I'm fine. Thank you.
Please don't mention my name. Okay.
Mark.
My issue is that I've recently started fucking this bird from Tinder and don't want anything more to do with her, as I've gotten my hole a fair few times.
He's bored. God. That's what he means. He's bored of it.
She's already a smitten kitten.
Oh, I love that.
Her words, not mine.
He's loving it.
And I'm wondering, how the fuck do I end this? Much obliged. Reinsert random name here.
Sam Allardyce, I think.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Break it off, isn't it? It's just ease it. Just the thing is, with breaking it off with the girl, you don't want it to go full psycho. Because, I mean, when that happens, it's a fucking nightmare. Do you know what I mean? They're texting you all the time and ringing you and that. Showing up at your fucking door.
I think the best thing to do is the hardest thing to do, which is just to be honest with her. Yeah. And just say, hey, listen, I'm not in a good place at the moment.
That's not honest, Jimmy. He's in a great place.
Well, if he's in a great place, listen, then tell her that. Just say, hey, listen, I've enjoyed our time together. I think you're great. The timing isn't right for me. I mean, that's fair to say. But it's going to be hard. It's the hardest conversation to have. My advice, but communicate and just be honest, and you'll be fine.
I don't subscribe to Jimmy's opinion, although I do subscribe to his channel.
I appreciate that. Everybody should.
My advice: just leave the door open, because a girl like that who's grateful for cock is something
that you're
always
an awful person.
Always, just don't sever it. Just. It's like an airplane. Just bring it into land gently.
Okay,
just
listen.
Touch down.
I think you can have that if you're honest with her. I think you can. Just like, because then they're going to think back, hey, random name person, like that person was straight with me and was honest, and that might be somebody I'm interested in the future.
And also,
it's like a mature relationship.
And karma comes back. Like karma will come. It'll pay you back for being a good, honest person.
Karma is bullshit. Karma is bullshit.
Clearly not looking.
Donald Trump is running for president, and you think karma exists, do you?
Yeah, but the point is that you can't see karma until it's happened. Like you can only join the dots backwards, Steve Jobs.
No.
So,
anyway, bring it into land gently. You don't want to say completely.
It's his show.
That this is over. Don't say it's over. Say, I'm a bit busy right now, and just calmly just phase her out. Text her a little bit less every day, just a little bit less. And then
you're saying fade her is what you're saying. You
fade her out, just gently. Awful. And then eventually one day
she's gonna know.
Yeah.
No, but she's gonna know. But
hey, babe,
you're gonna do it so smoothly. She's not even gonna know what the fuck's happened until you.
That's assuming you think that this guy has the moves to be smooth.
That's a good point.
It sounds like he's a smooth operator.
She's a smitten kitten. Come on.
That's fair.
Smooth operator.
It's also that then after a while you just drop little things in like, I mean, this advice I'm guessing will work. You go, yeah, I'm actually going out on a date tonight with a girl. And she's like, wait, what? And you're like, oh yeah, but I thought I could tell you as a friend. And then you just don't.
No. Right, this is
That's
wait a week.
tactic.
Wait a week. Like maybe just don't text her for ages. It's generally nothing, and then give her a good 5 days with nothing, and then out of the blue, just text her a picture of you, like a selfie next to somewhere. Right, maybe something that she likes. I don't know, some flowers. I don't know, and just say
you're texting your girl pictures.
Thought of you. Thought you might like these. Should I get you them? Something like that out of
Why?
nowhere.
He's trying to fade on her, you dumb fuck.
No, out of nowhere.
You just kind of like talked in a circle.
Yeah.
I appreciate that though.
No, but every now and then, just send her the odd thing just to keep her interest, because you never know when, in case of emergency, you're going to need to break open the glass case and pull out the pussy.
Successfully faded.
Hold on.
I'll send her a picture now.
No.
Hold on.
You want to keep her there, man?
As a father of 2 daughters.
Exactly.
I will have a lot of respect for the guys that, even if they don't end up liking my daughters, that they'd have the common decency to say, hey, listen, this isn't what I'm about. I'm not the, as hard as that might be, it's going to be a lot easier for my daughters to move on than some guy that's stringing her along with flowers and shit.
Either do the decent thing that Jimmy's recommended, or do the thing that is going to result in most happiness.
Let's face it though, if you end up with one of Jimmy Conrad's daughters, you're never going to want to fade that relationship. You're going to be like, I'm with Jimmy Conrad's daughters. That's what one of your little American guy friend. What are you going to be like as that father when they come back?
I don't think Jimmy would take much shit though. Is
it going to be like that scene in Bad Boys where they're like,
can I be the other one though?
Reggie,
can I be the one with the gun?
Is Reggie? Yeah.
I mean,
you look dirty.
It just kind of depends. I mean, more often than not, I don't think they're going to be bringing home, hopefully, a boy that you've never heard of before. I mean, I'm sure as they get older, that'll happen. But as they're first starting out, and as you start to help plant the seeds about how these things work.
What if they end up with a soccer player? How would you feel? You look so upset.
Maybe just stay away from the professional athletes in general.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Lawyers, doctors, welcome.
The next one's called Convince a Girl, right? He says, I'm absolutely fantastic podcast from Sweden.
Shout out to Sweden.
That's great.
Thanks for coming in, Jimmy. And then it just goes straight in. It goes, we just broke up. Straight in.
In
just
the deep end?
top. Yeah.
Start where you mean to go
We
on.
just broke up. Like 2 days before she left me, she said, whatever happens, I want it to be us. And I never want to leave you. Brackets, but in Swedish.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes, Gandhi. Today, 1 week after breakup, she told me she cries every night and she misses me like crazy. She can't decide what she wants. I love her and I really miss her. Even if she sort of lies, I forgive her. What should I do to help her decide? Fix her feelings? At this point, I don't want her to be I want her to be happy, so if I can convince her that breaking up is a good idea, I will do that.
So he doesn't have a fucking clue what she wants, and she doesn't have a fucking clue what she wants.
This is the perfect combination.
Oh, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this.
I feel like she's shown what she wants. I
get the sense that one of them knows what they want, and the other one's on the fence.
So he does, and she doesn't know.
Who knows?
I don't know, but I feel like one person is waiting for the other one
to make a move.
To make the move, and then they'll be like, "Oh, thank God, I'm glad. I feel the same way."
Sometimes people play games, so she might be doing one of those game things where it's sort of like, "I'll break up with him and see if he wants me." Do you know what I mean?
Why the fuck do women do that? You know what I mean?
Some guys do it.
Oh, fucking hell.
Games. I hate games.
Cunt bags, man. Just be honest. Just
Monopoly.
if you like someone.
No, but you can't say just be honest, because the last question you just said, hey,
you said play games, you dumb dick.
Will you stop calling me dumb? Because I'm gonna have to put that fucking microphone up your arse in a minute, you little cunt.
Probably enjoy it. So
well, maybe you would. I won't do it then.
Jimmy.
Yes.
What were you saying?
This is a tough one. I mean, if the guy that's writing the email is truly invested in her, it just goes back to what I had said before, just being honest and communicating his feelings. If they're not matched, then he can know moving on that they weren't matched, as opposed to this gray area that exists now.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy in this one,
it
isn't
is.
If he loves her,
as hard as it can be
big word.
sometimes.
If he loves her, just fucking tell her, mate.
Set her free.
Just fucking tell her.
Like Sting said.
Pull her in the shower, look into her eyes, tell her you love her.
It also says, what worries me here is he says, what should I do? I want to help her decide. I want to fix her feelings. That's the thing a lot of men try and do. They try and be the hero.
You can't fix anything.
Well, no, that's the hero complex is very strong.
Yeah.
In the males.
It is.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't go down the hero complex route because it's a bad route to go down.
What you realise, and I've done this before, when you're trying to fix someone who isn't a whole, complete person, is the more you fix, the more you realise it's broken.
Yeah.
And eventually, you end up in a long-term relationship that isn't working out very well.
Yeah, because you end up caring about that person, but you can't fix them, essentially.
No, ultimately, the issues I think that most people have to be fixed by themselves. There has to be a willingness to want to work on that part of them, and then I think from there you can support.
Well, nobody's perfect.
No, of course not. But you can support somebody once they're helping them, make the decision.
Themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
You can also just say, "Hey, listen, this is how your actions are affecting the people you care about." You can let people know that, and then from there, it's up to them to have to make that change. And once they make that change or try to make that change, you can support them in that. But I don't know.
Look at the man in the mirror.
Trying to fix other people is a difficult.
Looking at the man in the mirror.
It's my jam.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, for a start, far too many people start relationships or are in relationships that are a hell of a lot of work, and they don't realise, relationships aren't supposed to be that much work. If you think, if you're constantly saying to your partner or girlfriend or whatever, "Oh, we'll work on it," and you're saying this every week and every month, no, mate, that's not what relationships are supposed to be like.
What should they be like?
They're supposed to be fun and enjoyable for the most part, and obviously you have your odd low point, but they're not supposed to be a fucking turbulent whirlwind where you're constantly, "Oh, well, we'll just keep trying." No, it's not supposed to be like that.
Because you'll get old at one point and then you've just
Well, eventually you realise you
wasted your life.
spent 30 odd years with the wrong person.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
I don't know. I think if you, I'm gonna stop there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, the song Coldplay, "I Will Try to Fix You," in German directly translates as "I will try to fuck you."
Really?
Yeah.
Like Christian Fuchs?
Yes.
Ironically,
Christian fucks you?
a lot of men out there try to do both of those to women.
Yeah.
Fix and fuck. There's a hashtag for you. Hashtag fix and fuck.
Hashtag fix and fuck, which is also...
Put that in the
F and
comments
F,
if you
baby.
made it this far on.
I actually once met a mechanic that did that. He was an awful man.
Awful mechanic, fantastic fuck though.
Fantastic.
According to his clients.
He really put it in my boot.
My exhaust needs filling again.
Yeah. So to speak. Let me give you an MOT, he would often say. Friends Backlash. Hey guys, love the podcast. Lawrence over Geordie. I really like this girl and want to ask her out, but feel the potential backlash and shit I would get from my friends if she rejected me makes me too scared. Any suggestions as to what I should do? Thanks. Keep up the podcast. A great advice for us there, just to keep the podcast going.
Keep on about your day.
Yeah.
Ironically, delaying with. Thanks for that. Carry on. No, I was going to. Just. Yeah, all right.
Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Imagine if that was a chant for you. Remain potentially good.
I don't know about you, Jimmy, but I think life is far too short to worry about other people's opinions. Mm-hmm. If you like a girl, just go and fucking say it.
Yeah.
Just go and say it.
And rejection is not a big problem.
No, a lot of the people that I think we admire are the people that fail a lot and try stuff and go for it. And if it doesn't work out, there's a really famous
successful failure.
Well, there's a really famous Nelson Mandela quote that there's no losing. You either win or you learn.
Yes.
And so he goes and talks to this girl and he asks her. Well, he either gets her or he learns. Okay, maybe my tactic wasn't the best, or that she just didn't like him in return. It's not really not even that big of a deal if you strip away the emotion and all the peer pressure that you're putting on yourself.
And when you don't get it's like when you don't get a job interview, you just sort of go, okay, that's fine. But definitely, like a job interview, don't go, cool, any feedback for me in the way that because what I really liked a few weeks ago, you gave a piece of advice. You said, if a girl rejects you, just be like, okay, cool, and walk away.
I'll take it well.
Never go down the route of, what?
She's a fucking lesbian.
Yeah.
She must like women.
Yeah.
No.
Don't go down the Geordie route.
I think if I could do my 16 to 24 over again, which were my most prolific years without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. That was your Abbey Road.
If I could, the Wolf of Wall Street years, as I like to remember them, was a lot like that film.
Sergeant Pepper's.
In fact, the opening scene really is quite a lot like what my life was like. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just thinking, if I could do it all again, I would ask out 100 times more girls, get rejected 100 more times, because for all those times I went out and just had a go, I would get a hell of a lot more fun experiences out of that. Because, all right, maybe 98 of those good-looking girls might have said no, but the two that said yes, yes.
If you throw another shit at a wall, then
the double yes.
Yes, motherfucker.
you're going to boot camp.
I'll be up to me nuts and guts.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it goes down to regrets, too. I mean,
Fuck regrets.
his buddies are always going to give him banter no matter what.
Yeah.
They're always going to slag him off or whatever.
Even if you get it.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah.
So why not just go ask her and
Go
not
son.
regret that happening?
This one's called Football Job. And Jimmy, I picked this one out specially, knowing that you were coming in this week.
Great.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Firstly, I must say I'm a big fan. Thanks.
I know.
My name is and I'm a football fan from Calgary, Canada.
Okay.
I just graduated university.
Bret Hart country.
Sure, is it?
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
That's right.
Oh, and obviously Owen then.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, I mean, so, yeah, brothers.
Legends.
I just graduated university with a broadcasting diploma,
Congratulations.
which
That's
in
great.
Canada might be like a degree, right? I'm pretty sure that's a degree.
Yep.
And I wanted to know if you could share any advice from your experience over the years. Unfortunately, there is a lack of enthusiasm for football. We call it soccer, where I'm from. So I'm finding football broadcasting, media and journalism jobs are hard to come
Good.
by. Thank you so much for your time, Didi.
I'll start. I think there's a void then that needs to be filled if there's no content being made around the beautiful game, or as we call it, soccer. And I'm trying to put my own American voice. And
What would you do if you were a young kid now trying to get into the broadcast game
I would
in Calgary?
I would just start making my own content. Something we talked about before about creative freedom. I think it gives you the opportunity to learn how to do a lot of different roles. So you're on camera, you're behind the scenes, you're thinking about storylines, you're thinking about how to produce, you have to edit, then you have to think about marketing and distribution and who you're going to get it out to and who can you partner with. And when you take on that role and start to embody that, then you learn so much in that process. But if you're just trying to look around for, hey, CBC or whatever the things are
CNBC, all those ones,
or
yeah.
I think I think CBC might be up there in Canada. It's like, can I get a job as a presenter? And then you're only doing one role. You're only doing one thing that you can get good at. Whereas if you just try to start making it on your own, you'll be such a better storyteller a couple of years on. That you'd be so much more valuable to CBC than if you just came on as a talent.
I'm reminded, like, actually speaking of Canada, one of their best journalists, Ariel Helwani, who's the MMA the main journalist in the MMA world. There was no Ariel Helwani in MMA. So he became that, and that's exactly what you're saying. And now he's hired by all the biggest companies. He's the main journalist in MMA. He gets all the inside scoops and things.
He saw a void.
So that's it. Like for example, in Newcastle, the mainstream media. Not that they've supported me at all since starting out. Thanks for nothing.
The Newcastle Gazette.
They were so tight-lipped because of the fact that they are really restricted by the club. Like, you don't get access if you don't play by our rules.
Yeah.
That there was a real cry out for a voice where it was just total unfiltered. Yeah. Now, accidentally, I sort of became that person.
Thanks, Niall.
Cheers, Niall. A total accident, but yeah, everything you're saying is right. If there's a void there, you fucking make it yourself, mate.
Yeah.
Money or happiness? All right, lads, love the podcast. Geordie, you have some fucked up stories.
Cheers, mate.
Anyway, onto the question.
It's life. I'm just living it.
So my girlfriend lives in London, and I live in the land of Chris MD, which is Guernsey?
Is it? No, it's
Jersey.
Jersey,
Is it Jersey or
yeah, he's a tax dodger, basically. We'll have him on the show at some point.
Well, that's what the D
We've agreed
stands
that.
for, is dodger. Yeah, major tax dodger. He's not really.
That's not true.
I'm on decent money over here, he says. Yeah, too right, mate.
Who
She's dodging
isn't?
taxes.
Who isn't?
But we don't really see each other that often. I'm definitely much happier when I go over and see her. Do you think I should take the hit in salary and go over there, or stay here and keep making good money? Keep it up. Loving what you're doing.
Does he say how long he's been with her? Just so I've got all the facts.
Yeah, I need some context.
No, girlfriend live in London.
Let's assume.
No.
Let's assume he's been with her for a little while, and he's in love with her, and it's serious,
Big.
right? What do you think, Jimmy?
you have a conversation with her. I think you talk about what she wants. Maybe that's not something she even wants. Maybe she likes having a little bit of freedom from you. So he might be putting it in his perspective, but maybe that's something that she enjoys as well.
Let's say she wants him to come.
Long distance is a long way. I mean, that's long distance. It's, you know, anytime you have to take a flight to get to someone, that's long distance.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if she wants him to be there and he's always happy when he's around her, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Move to London.
Personally.
I'd say
There's a lot of opportunities in London as well, so I don't think he's going to be like bad.
The taxes are heavier.
Well, yeah, everything's heavy. I mean, you kind of fucking rent a room. I mean, as we found out. Let's not. We'll get into that another time. But
I thought you did rent a room.
You kind of
like
rent a room
per hour rooms. I heard
without getting
harassed
or kicked out or police coming. So anyway, all I'm saying is, I think if you're in love with a girl, life's too short, mate. Fucking go for it, son.
Really?
I'm patting him on the back saying, get stuck in.
Get on the plane.
Do you know why? Because if he sits in that job, one day he might be on his fucking deathbed thinking, he might have plenty of money, he might have had a good job, and he might be thinking, but what if I just fucking had to go with that girl?
I wish I'd joined that beautiful girl.
Maybe she would be here right now. Maybe what kids would be right. You never know what. Life's a bit fucking short to just sit there and wonder what's going to happen. So I think go for it.
Go to London.
Do it.
No man is an island.
Go to London, son. I'll see you there for a pint.
Consider yourself, and then he all marches off.
Yeah, we all.
Is
that the emails done?
Well, I've got one about a childhood girlfriend, but it is quite a long email, and I also have one about a best friend's girl. Which one would you rather have?
Best friend's girl.
It sounds like trouble.
Keep my name quiet if you could, lads. Yeah, you're cheating.
You're going to have to tell us it afterwards. I want to search this cunt.
I'm 18 and having a gap year. A gap year, right?
He's going travelling, backpacking, riding as much fanny as he possibly can. Oh, I'm going to Australia. I'm going to pick bananas. No, you're not. You're going to shove your banana in them, aren't you? Those Aussie birds. We all know what you're doing on your gap year.
My best mate's ex-girlfriend on 2 years is at uni locally to me.
Oh, fuck.
I'm now becoming very good mates with this girl, but I'm not interested in her any more than that because the image of him in her makes me want to chunder, and I don't want to go anywhere near that. Now, I went and met his girl and stayed the night with her. But as I said, I'm not interested in her like that. I feel guilty about the whole scenario because I've kept the whole thing quiet from my friend. Now she really doesn't want me to tell him about it, and I kind of feel guilty. What the fuck do I do? And why the fuck do I feel guilty? Should I tell him?
So they're still together, his mate and this girl?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he stayed the night?
No, ex-girlfriend.
Fuck. He didn't hump her, did he?
He just said he stayed the night.
Well, I guess at this point, even if he did, if they're ex, what does it matter?
Well, I mean, there's still a code, right?
You're emailing the True Geordie, True G Problems, by the way.
At gmail.com.
At truegproblems@gmail.com. Email. You've probably done something to be guilty about, haven't you?
It's that guilt that he's looking. What he's looking for is he's looking for us to go. Oh, it's cool. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm not going to allow you that.
Nah. You're the reverend here, the preacher. He wants to come express his sins to you, and you got to clear him of his sins.
Peace be upon you.
I mean, if I think,
and also with you.
Put it this way.
Lift up your hearts.
Put it this way. If you told me that if any of my mates told me, oh, I'd stay the night at your girlfriend's, ex-girlfriend's house,
you'd literally be like, the fuck.
I'll probably just punch them there and then.
Why?
Because you just don't do that.
Well, it depends if you
2 years.
If you cared about that girl or not, though.
Well, he was with her for 2 years. He did care about her, didn't he? That's a long time.
Yeah.
You don't stay with a girl for 2 years out of. Some lads do out of habit.
I'm going with my theme throughout, which is just be honest.
Yeah.
It's just communicate. Just put it out there. You never know how people are going to respond until you give them the opportunity to respond. And I think there are opportunities where there's just been times in my life where I kept stuff in, and if I had just been open and communicated how I was feeling, it would have given people the proper time to respond to me in a way that could have helped me.
For instance, please stop fucking that girl in the bed next to me.
Well,
that would have been.
Yeah, I didn't even know what to do at that moment. Like, do you get up? Where was I going to go if I wanted to leave
Would
the
you
room?
have done that like sleepy sort of? Ooh, just getting the water.
I didn't know what to do. I was stuck there. I didn't know whether
To
I
be
should
fair,
get up.
it wasn't stuck there for long. So
That's true. It wasn't
not a
long at
problem.
all.
6
2 pumps and a squirt.
6 pumps, I think.
6 pumps and a squirt.
I don't know. I don't know about any of that stuff.
Just,
I wasn't looking, but yeah.
That honesty, but what you're saying is honesty is the best policy. Even if you're afraid of what that person's going to say.
Right. I think sometimes we get worked up in about what that honesty might do. And that's why usually the hardest things to do are usually the right things to do. And I've ducked those conversations before, and I haven't been open, and it's led to some issues for me throughout my life. And it's just better to just lay it out there. And then, like, in hindsight, now that I'm older and I've seen some things, in hindsight, it's just better to, if I just laid it out there and just said what I wanted to say, and given that person a chance to respond or whatever, then I think things would have been better in situations. Yeah.
Fuck.
So anyway, just put it out there. Just tell your buddy.
Just be honest, you dirty little cunt.
Your buddy might just be like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. Okay, thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
You know, or he could be like, hey, if you want to, if that's cool that you're with her, here are the 5 things you might want to watch out for because this bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Chlamydia.
Just
caught it off her.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, in the first place, if you're not telling them, there's probably a problem there in the first place. But
Right.
truegproblems@gmail.com. Get your emails in for next week. It is a big week.
I'm going to get mine in for Joe Weller.
So the Twitter topic for this week
Bam.
was, what is your perfect woman?
Wow.
Lad, any thoughts, lads? Is there a word that comes to mind? One word where if you're guaranteed to get that from a woman, what would you look for? Love. All right, outside of love. Come on now, love. Of course, love. Subservient. You know.
I think it's not one word though, is it? It's just.
I'm just trying to get you going.
Right, subservient? Is that 2 words?
It's a good start.
That's a
Good start, isn't it? I
hyphenated.
love a woman who can take orders.
Is that what you tell them?
When I'm at Burger King, sometimes.
I love a woman who can take when you're at Shake Shack. Yeah. I love a woman who can take orders. What do you want?
And cock. No.
I'll have a big tasty meal, please. Yes, but which one?
Yeah. Nothing. Any looks wise? I mean, are you a blonde, brunette? And I mean,
I'm not
traditionally,
blonde, no.
Traditionally, you like brunette.
My girlfriend looks.
This isn't about girlfriend. It's about your ideal woman, though. There's two different.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think I've met that ideal woman.
So sweet. You knew what you were going to walk into.
This is fucking sickening. This. All right.
Why is that sickening?
And then you've got Jimmy.
Jimmy,
thing, is it?
Jimmy walk into the same big bear trap.
My beautiful wife for sure is my ideal woman.
I mean,
she's smart. She's funny.
She is funny. I've seen her in videos.
Yeah,
she's very funny.
She's funny. She's creative.
Would you say you're punching?
Above my weight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And do you feel okay with that?
Yes, she's got me beat in a lot of different ways, but she makes me feel like that it's not like that. But
That's
she
not
knows.
she knows.
She knows.
There's an equality in that
So
relationship.
you would be the reachers.
We would be the reachers, whereas you are the reached.
Yes.
You are the mountain that people look to climb. Do you have anything that you must tick in a relationship box for you? Like, was there anything ever anything that you thought she absolutely must have this physical quality in order to attain
This is the answer.
Brian's love?
Physical quality?
It makes me sound so shallow, but it's
huge arse.
It's yep, there it is.
Yeah, I bet.
Big bum,
Big bum.
like a big
No
arse.
harm done.
I like
Big bum.
just something I can just
Dip
get
your
your
fingers
fucking
into.
claws into.
Yeah.
Preferably, I mean, if we're talking like ideal, because we've got on the ideal.
You know what I'm
already.
saying?
You know what I mean? I just like curves in general, really. Ideally,
You and Drake.
you know, trick. So yeah, I mean,
Do you like someone who's a bit sassy? Do you like someone who's going to give it back a little bit, or do you want
Yeah.
someone that's completely
Yeah.
sort of, oh yeah, take me here, take me
no,
there?
I like banter. I like a woman who's going to like
Banter.
be
you
a
like,
bit.
You like Richard Keys, but in female form.
It was just banter. No, I like a woman who's going to give it back a little bit, like, because I'm a mouthy fucking bastard on her. So if a woman can sort of give us a bit of grief back,
I
Do
think
you like that?
that's good. Yeah, why not? Bit of personality, bit of sass.
Got to be bold. You got to be. You got to be
you
bad.
say that, but if it's too much, I bet you wouldn't like that.
There's a fucking fine line.
Right, that's what I mean.
Between
So, I think
a sassy girl and a moany cunt.
I think your ideal woman is somebody that knows exactly when to give you the banter and when to just listen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think for you.
Jimmy knows me so well. Jimmy, he could be like my sort of buffer between...
Be a guru.
I could be your life coach if you want. You want to be a life coach?
That is actually quite a good thing. Is you do actually have like a new business now, don't you? You are like
I do.
You're not a life coach, but you're like a media thing.
Yes, I started a new company called Radical Creative Group, and I have Castro 1021.
Because you're looking after. Like,
I'm managing.
YouTube guys
I'm managing him right now. Yeah, and,
awesome.
Yeah.
And Castro's a great lad.
Awesome.
Done amazing things for charity.
He's
Shout
great.
out to Castro.
He's got such a big heart.
Back to my ideal woman.
Yeah, let's go back to
sorry.
that. Sorry.
I like Castro, but I like my ideal woman more. I've never met her, or have I? Maybe I have.
This
But
is essentially
let's be
a
honest.
dating ad for him. Do you like a sense of humour?
Curves, definite. Got to have banter, a sense of humour. Take it a little bit, but also know when to just calm down, tone it down a little bit.
Just,
yeah,
you know
what I mean. Just,
yeah.
But,
Stop now.
all right, that's it. You've had your say.
I feel like a woman would be on here going, "Yeah, that person doesn't exist."
Yeah, I totally agree.
They probably do. Why would they not exist?
That's why
Well,
it's
I'm just saying. I
ideal.
mean, like you're asking for something that isn't real because you're
all those things that a woman have.
No,
she
I think a
wouldn't want
woman
me.
can have that, but she's also going to have her own needs and desires that she needs from you, and I think that's where it gets a little.
And that's where it's niche.
It really is
Well,
like
it gets-
Lego, isn't it? And sometimes you fit together with a person, and sometimes you just.
Sometimes it's like Connects and Lego. You just jamming them together.
different games.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't like playing games. So
Sometimes
that's another thing.
with
I
you,
like-
very often it's like Duplo and a piece of Lego. It's like just this enlarged piece of Lego that's just trying to fucking fit that Lego in it, and it just won't. And you're like, just fit, and it just doesn't.
Oh my god! Some people. All right. I like honesty. I like trustworthy. I like funny, and someone who can give it and take a little bit of crack and that, and curves, and yeah, curves.
all these really nice things and curves.
Curves.
As long as you got the goddamn curves.
Yeah.
No, but like that's important. It really-
Tanned?
no, I'm not too fussed. I like
Anything, whatever you can get.
No, I'm not that shallow in that respect. Just as long as they've got curves, I'm
Not
happy.
that shallow.
Shallow. I just think you're an equal opportunity woman lover. You like diversity in your game.
Yeah, I mean,
wrong with
I'm
that.
open to whatever is coming at us. It's got to be coming at us.
It's coming at me. Oh.
Usually, I'm coming at them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Little
Wow.
Japanese
oh my god!
women with forearms.
That's sort of what I like.
Popeye forearms.
My forearms is like.
Bit of sass and a bit of ass.
Wow. Yeah. Or nearest offer. Get in touch with the number below.
You know the comments, you know the links.
TrueGProblems@gmail.com. Yeah, because that is what you will be getting into. A massive amount of True G problems. Okay.
For fuck's sake.
Now,
All right,
I'm trying to
Jimmy.
finibe us on a positive
All
note.
right,
You do have a new business, and you are managing people, and you're
Yeah.
sort of getting out in there in the world.
I'm just trying to put things in place to be able to create projects that I want to create. As you guys are doing with the podcast, you have an idea. Okay, who do we go pitch that to? How do we do it together? How do I bring people in that I want to work with, and go from there? And I feel like I've created this business, not only to manage like that. That was kind of a welcome. Okay, great. Yeah, I can help you out. I can be somebody that can help advise you in different situations because he's got a wonderful girlfriend named Peta that does a lot of that as well. And but I can come in and help assist in any way that they need me to help. And then on top of that, if we have some brands, we have some ideas, and I have someone who might not have as much reach, let's say, as I do, well, can they come to me with an idea and I can go help them get that made? And I'm not looking for a cut. Yeah, I'm not looking for a cut. I'm just looking
I'm
to
sold.
to help kind of build this collaborative where we can start to work
Andy doesn't
together.
want to cut.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I mean, all I would want from let's say from a cut perspective is just what would be fair for
reasonable
time.
time.
Reasonable time.
50%.
No, it wouldn't be anything like that. But I can help if people already have an idea. Can we help add layers to it to make it even bigger and better? Can we maybe bring a brand in to help offset some of the budget that they're trying to get, and just make positive content that people want to watch and be a part of?
From day one, Jimmy, I can honestly say I've looked up to you.
Oh man, that means a lot. We're gonna tear up here.
Literally 6'5".
Well, he gave me help when I needed it at the absolute most. And if there's something I don't forget on YouTube, it's people who've helped us. You've helped us, Lawrence.
Yep.
You helped us. Spencer helped us. So that's it. I just have to say thanks to everyone. Thanks to the lot of yous.
Otherwise,
Thanks,
you'd be
buddy.
going
That's
around
really
on a
nice of
little mobility scooter, 50 stone.
No, well,
I can't tell you how proud I am of all the success that you've had.
Yeah.
And onwards and upwards.
And you, mate. And you. Hopefully more things together in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for
Paul.
having me.
Thanks.
Appreciate it,
great.
Jimmy. You're an absolute legend, mate.
Oh,
and
It's too kind.
People can check you out. Let people know your own YouTube channel, mate.
Yeah, youtube.com/the Jimmy Conrad. And then on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Jimmy Conrad. And then Snapchat, I flip up my initials. So
he loves Jimmy
it's
Conrad.
Simmy Johnrad. CIMMYJONRAD.
Check him out. Thanks
Check
for
me
watching,
out.
everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button. Stay subscribed on YouTube and iTunes. And we'll see you later.